you a song, let me give you a song, let me sing you a song, let me sing you a song. From dusk to dawn, to the early morn, till the battle's gone, till the battle's gone. Hitting on the road, I wanna bring you a thong, wanna show you the world like you step up a song. Heard your heart was broke, so I'ma give you my own. If you take me home, please take me home, let me give you a song.
Hey folks, welcome back to Dusty Tracks BC. Here we are in Beards Brewing, and I have Steven here, the owner and founder. I'll let him introduce himself with what he has to say.
Thank you very much. My name is Steven Beard, thus Beards Brewing. I am a lieutenant, a full-time firefighter here in Fort St. John. I essentially was raised here in Fort St. John. We moved up in kindergarten. I love this community, the opportunity it's given us, but to be honest, I left as soon as I could. The morning after graduation, I flew away anticipating to never come back.
Very quick.
Traveled a bunch, had a ton of experiences, and in that I realized how lucky I was to have been raised here. It's a community that's still safe. It's a community that still has that sense of community.
Right.
I had been at the fire hall for probably about 10, 12 years, and I love being a firefighter. I love, that job, that challenge, that constant, every day's different, and I just love that. And as firefighters, we're hired by the community. We stay our whole career in the community, so I have committed to stay here for 30 years and likely much longer if my kids stay. But about the 10, 12-year point, I started wanting a new challenge.
Yeah.
My wife had bought me a home brew kit for Christmas in 2005, 2006. That's way off. That's 2015, 2016. And I fell in love with making beer. I was shocked at how replicatable it is, how different hops can give such different flavors. And, I was really disappointed that Fort St. John didn't have a craft brewery. I looked into starting one and saw how expensive it was, and to be honest, took that dream and just set it aside. Went back to life, went back to firefighting, and just happened across a website that sells used equipment. And Roslyn, BC, Roslyn Brewing Company, were upgrading their equipment, and they were willing to train me on the much bigger system. We bought everything third hand. They had purchased it from a brewery on the island.
Yeah.
And drove down, spent one brew day learning how to brew. I filmed it all, took lots of notes.
Yeah.
And then a few months later, when their new system came, I drove down with a big gooseneck, loaded a whole bunch of stainless steel equipment on a trailer, and drove it up to Fort St. John. And this is what came of that.
One load.
One load, yes.
Yeah.
And
Imagine.
then a lot of effort.
Yeah, I bet. So from that, I don't know what you call it, house brewing or home brewing.
Yeah,
I suppose.
home brewing.
You flourished into this, and this is from my understanding from our previous chat. There, a side project, a passion.
Absolutely, passion is exactly it. I wanted to give back to this amazing community I call home.
Yeah.
We purchase all of our malts, with one or two small exceptions of specialty malts, all from BC. We buy all of our hops from BC. We're trying to get local farmers to grow hops. We have 3 or 4 who have planted some, but it takes 3 years to get a viable crop. Our whole market is support local. We have a local farmer that takes all of our spent grain, and they provide us our honey for a lot of our honey brews. This space that we're in has been used for pop-up shops and markets and yoga class. Last night we had a music event. You might be able to hear in our mics in the background. We're right on the historic Alaska Highway, so you can't really miss us. But yeah, we just love local, everything about it.
That's so wild that Fort St. John didn't have a brew house, like a local watering hole, that it wasn't just a bar or...
Yeah, even craft beer, to be honest. When we started, most of our community still drinks the commercial beer, which is all essentially owned by one corporation. We just wanted to show locals that beer can have different tastes, and that we don't have late hours. We're usually closed by 9. We're very family friendly. You can have pets out on the patio. We have lots of games, and essentially we're just trying to create a space where people want to be a community and connect with people. And I love when I come in and I see a new set of parents that looks exhausted, and you can tell they're just in that shell shock stage of having kids, and then some grandparents that'll come sit down and cuddle a baby and have a little interaction that maybe relieves their stresses going on that day. And everything about that just it fills my soul. I love it.
Yeah, you seem really, really proud of the creation here and the involvement with the community. And it seems seems like it's not just a brewery. There's also you're saying you're hosting other events as well.
Anything,
music and the art wall, and
we do music bingos. We have lots of nonprofits that'll come and do a fundraiser. We give tons of donations. Really, anyone who comes and asks. I know that we've donated to, it must be over 100 different local charities and community sporting events or fundraising events, or pretty much anything that we can support. We partner with the city of Fort St. John quite often, and we'll do a little beer gardens at their event space, and they'll get live musicians or artists or whatever they can to essentially get people out of their homes, off of their phones, and being a community again.
Get them out and about.
It really is. We kind of, I think, became accustomed to not connecting. Out of fear, out of safety for quite a long time over those 2 years, and now we're just venturing out again, and it's neat to talk to people who a lot of our regulars that just want a space to not be at home, and we try to definitely foster healthy drinking habits. A lot of our beers have tons of B vitamins and silicon, which makes your bones harder, and we definitely try to support. As a firefighter, I see the consequence of negative drinking habits, and so we work very hard to show that that isn't the way to enjoy your journey, and that's not really what we're about. We don't cater to the 1 a.m. people who have drunk to excess. We want locals who just want to connect with other locals and feel human for a while.
Yeah, get out of the house and go and hang out with your friends.
Exactly, or even just feeling lonely at home, because a lot of the people in Fort St. John are fly in, fly out. They don't necessarily live here, but they work here. And so you'll often get students sitting doing some homework, or someone who just doesn't want to sit in their apartment or their hotel alone, and wants a place where there is that feeling of community.
I think Emma and I both understand that quite well. We've been on the road for quite a bit of time, and editing in a hotel room, you can only do that for a certain number of hours, and then you're like, okay, we gotta go find somewhere else to go and do this. In the heart of the north where we are, this big glass bay door, the light that we get, even when it's minus 40 outside and it's not very nice to be outside, in here it's always nice and warm and bright, and you can get some of that vitamin D and some of that sunshine that I think you crave in the heart of winter, especially up here in the north. What's it like running a brewery in the dead of winter?
To be honest, in some ways it's easier because we're always trying to keep things cool. Yeast activates, especially lagers, at a colder temperature. So lagers historically were actually winter beers only. Until the invention of refrigeration, lagers barely exist. All the beers that we drank historically were ales, because ales, the yeast, that's what makes an ale versus a lager, is just the yeast. And it's active, between potentially 16 and 28 or more. Like the variance of temperature is much more forgiving, whereas your lagers like to be, that 10 to 12, or depending on the yeast, like they want to be at a set temperature, only within a couple degrees. So that winter helps us. in that aspect. I think, again, in winter in the north, we kind of hibernate a little bit. Often I'll go to shift in the dark and I'll come home from shift in the dark. And so having a place that's bright and friendly and where you feel welcomed is important. And it's important to get out and kind of get out of your cave and break that hibernation cycle.
Definitely. Yeah, it breaks that mundane of going to work in the dark, coming home in the dark. And
yes.
if you're able to have that couple days off or whatever it is and get out to somewhere that has there is really good lighting here. There are a few string lights, but this is
even
your
on
bay
a smoky, cloudy day like we
it's
have
extremely
here.
Smoky out there.
We're we have definitely some forestry issues with our fires around us, as most of the province and country seems to right now. But we in Fort St. John we have a remarkable amount of sunshine. Typically, we're one of the sunniest locations in the province. So even in the heart of winter, we'll often have a gorgeous blue sky. And so it is nice to come in and just enjoy that and enjoy the space.
Yeah. Bringing it back to like the nitty gritty of brewing, you said you went down to Rossland for a short period of time.
Single brew day.
A single brew day.
Yeah. Which is the hardest part, right? Everything happens in that 12 hours of the brew day.
Yeah. So before that, you were brewing at home. What did you go to? I'm sure you did a lot of research online, but did you go to any
school or education?
For brewing?
No, it's all just access to information is so accessible now, and brewing is one of the oldest recipes in history. Brewing has been around, like the oldest written recipe in existence is a corn beer. So brewing's been around for a long time. It's like I said, it's a recipe. You have weight of grain, temperature of water, time. There's a couple processes in there, and you flash cool it so that you don't end up with any issues with bacteria. Like, technology has certainly helped, but it's the exact same thing every brew day for every recipe. The only difference is what the recipe is. So the process is awesome. And to be honest, I don't do the brewing anymore. I have an incredible team. One of our bartenders was interested in learning, and Montana essentially does all of the brewing now. She's incredible. She's really the lifeblood that's pumping beer out. And being of a bit of a younger generation than I love that she's been able to find a job where she gets to set her own hours and has the flexibility of I want to go to the lake for 4 days, and we love that. We love having that and having that opportunity. And then our team in the front is fantastic, and my role now is more building recipes, all the darn paperwork and the governmental hoops you have to jump through, and then just trying to create new beers and keep the wheels on the cart, essentially.
That's from bartender to full-time
to
brewer?
brewmaster. She's full-time brewer, and I hope she loves it. I'm pretty sure she does. She's a little introverted for working the front of the bar. I think she much prefers the back, and initially she started as an assistant brewer, and when our brewer at the time, the gentleman I had trained went back to the oil patch. She took over and has really been rocking it ever since. And I'm super grateful. And I still come in on brew days because there's some physical stuff, and it's a really long day. But for the most part, all the canning she and I are doing together. It's just the two of us on that end, and so we don't have a nice, expensive automated canner.
Are you hand canning everything?
We're hand canning everything. So we do have a 4-head filler, which we started like Blickman single filling, which is awful. It's like it's more what you'd expect from a home brewer. But it was, again, through the pandemic, we had to do whatever we could to get our beers out. We have a lot of recipes. We've got at least 15 beers with 4 more that I'm developing right now. I wish I could brew a new beer every time, but people fall in love with certain recipes, and we have a lot of regulars. Like if we don't have our bee sting, or we don't have the black, or at least 1 or 2 IPAs, I definitely hear it. So it's and we have the super flights where you can come in with 2 people and try every single beer that we have. And yeah, it's really cool. It's amazing how many customers I've spoken to and bartended for who are like, I don't actually like beer, and we do have lots of other options, but it's like, try it, have a little sample, and especially the black, the milk chocolate oatmeal stout. A lot of people, they're shocked that beer can taste like that. And it's, the IPAs with, the fruit and the variety of potential flavors. It's where I fell in love with craft beer, traveling and going to the local watering hole and trying what's made here. Like, what are you guys creating? Versus, just a really watered down lager that's mostly corn and rice that's designed to go through you as quick as possible so that you can consume more, which is what most commercial brews are.
I mean, it's still astonishing, that little bit of information you gave before the camera started rolling. But yeah, having somebody take over Brewmaster and you just being able to step down a little bit, so like you said, it was another avenue that you were pursuing.
Like I said, before our interview, I'm a dreamer, but with any true dreamer or artist, you need people who are really good at, the repetitive over and over processes, or the dream kind of collapses. Yeah. There's not a lot of artists that find, the incredible success because they want to create something new, and they want to, evolve and change. And I'm very similar to that. So I'm grateful to have the support of my wife and my family. My wife doesn't even drink beer. Unfortunately, she's like, nah, that one's not good. That one's really not good. But she believes in me, and she supports, my path and my dreams. And, I'm super grateful for that. I'm grateful for this community. Every time we have an event, they come in, they support it. Our mayor, our council, our MLA, our MP, all of them have been here for events and, have helped it grow and supported us. And that's one thing you find in the heart of the North, is you do have to rely more on community. We don't have anyone else here. There, as a firefighter, switch hats real quick. Like, our rescue area is a 2-hour drive up the highway and all the way to the Alberta border. So
it's a bit of a drive.
And that's just the halfway point between the next community, Fort Nelson. Yeah.
I imagine in the winter, or right now in the summer, there's some pretty serious fires going on.
That, and this highway is super busy. It's the community is busy. There's opportunity here. There's work here. Yeah. We really are a community that's driving the motor that is our province. A lot of the tax dollars that go to the provincial coffers come from our small area. And again, I'm just grateful to be here and have the support of such an amazing community.
Having that support, not only from your staff that were just a bartender and then now elevated to brewmaster, and then also your wife that maybe doesn't necessarily like beer but sees the passion that you have for creating something different and wanting to drive in a new direction, and then also the added benefit of the community support. It's extremely important, and then it also I'm sure it drives you to see where you want to push Beers Brewing in the future, or maybe let it just ride like it is.
I'm so grateful, absolutely. And being a dreamer, I'd love to have a big kitchen, and we actually ran power. Before the pandemic, we used to have all the local food trucks would park out front, and so we'd have different food. Unfortunately, none of them survived. Every single one of them went under over the 2 years. So maybe that'll come back in the future. But I'd love to see a rooftop patio and a view of the highway and the mountains. And it's however, time is the thing that I think I'm realizing is most important right now. I have a about to be 14-year-old and about to be 16-year-old, and they still want to hang out sometimes. And so, I want to make sure that I can be there with them and have those experiences, when it matters most. And, this is something that's going to be there when they're on their own journey. And, even when I retire as a firefighter, if we still have this crazy thing, it's something that I can go bartend again, or, maybe take it to a whole new level, or maybe one of the kids will, who knows, or maybe I'll be on a new path. Life is a crazy journey,
It is, yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah. Do you see any of your kids coming and working here, or
probably not
interest in it?
Like, it's my daughter's a dancer. My wife is a dance instructor in town, and to be honest, I was as well, professionally on cruise ships for 7 years, traveling the world, and that was where that's where honestly I realized you could love what you do, and you could make a living at it. And after that, I think that's what drew me to the fire department, is that same excitement and fulfillment. And with, if they choose to, awesome, but I certainly don't want any pressure on them to, because their path will be their path, and whatever, I'd hate to be I hate if I would have been railroaded into, this is going to be your future. And so it's part of why I chose to name it Beards versus Fort St. John Brewing or something more local. I'm the only son of an only son of an only son, and I had an only son, and I felt a lot of pressure and maybe personal expectation to pass on the name, and I don't want that for my son. And this way, maybe the name will go on long after, both of us are gone. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, time will tell.
Time will tell. That is an important stage, though. Not to push them into railroading them.
Yeah.
And also
That's flies loving us.
It's just hanging out.
Yeah.
Letting them choose, their own path in life, and like you, I grew up in a small town, and as soon as I could, I was like, I'm out of here.
I want something different.
I want to go check out the world and see what else is out there. And then I had that opportunity, and I'm extremely grateful for it. But then also, similar to you, I came back home and I was just astonished at what I had at home, and I was able to appreciate it after seeing
in a whole different. You get to see.
Light.
Yeah, my wife's from Calgary, and we honestly moved up to Fort St. John after cruise ships, with the intent of being here for one winter. I started in the oil patch at 16, and I just thought I'll make a quick winter of money, and then we'll go to Calgary or Vancouver or wherever. When we got here, we fell in love with it. I can go for a 5K hike right outside my backyard and not come across another soul likely. And, there's a herd of deer that live there, and, it's the community, it still has that community feel. And there's opportunity, in so many cities you've got 15 breweries now, or 3 that you're competing directly with in a small community. Whereas we don't really have to worry about that here. There's more than enough. Honestly, we could have more breweries, and I wouldn't be shocked if there do become more, because the average craft beer drinker wants to try something different, something new. And it's one of the things I love about the craft beer business. We're not competing against each other, because our competition is InBev. It's the big corporation that owns beer globally. We're just trying to convince people to try something different. And once you have a craft beer drinker, you usually have someone who wants to try something different and something new. And so you kind of have that shared growth together, which I love. Those win-win situations.
Yeah. Speaking a bit on that, there is another brewery in town.
There is, yes.
But they aren't as local as you?
No, their owners are absolutely local as well, and they opened shortly after we did, and may have even got the dream going ahead of time. None of the owners were home brewers before, which I think adds its own challenges. They've definitely had issues keeping brewmasters, and they've expanded to a kitchen, and food is a whole other beast.
Yeah.
We have local food that we bring in, you know, a local pizzeria that does stuff and snacks and all of that. But having a kitchen, the amount of work that goes into that is stressful.
Yeah.
But it's neat. Like, we've helped each other out lots over the years, where we've given them ingredients that they were short on, and they have a much more automated canning system. So the cans that don't fit in their system, we can still use. So rather than turfing them, we'll buy them off them and use them. And so it's been a really cool relationship between them that I think benefits everybody.
That's good to hear. Yeah, I mean, usually when you have two of the same thing in a town or in a small local area or anywhere really, you can see it one of two ways, and I think you have the better of it. You're working with your competition. It sounds like it's a healthy competition, but you're also relying on them sometimes, and they're relying on you. And it's like you're saying,
honestly,
it's a community of.
Yeah, a community of like-minded people who just want to give back to the community. And I've never looked at them as competition, just in the way that this is a side thing for me, as it kind of is for them. You know, they're investors. I have a full-time career. I want to stay local. I'm not trying to expand throughout the province, although with the Site C Dam being right outside our door and having 1,400 workers from throughout the province, we're getting lots of calls from Penticton and Kelowna and Vancouver of, where can I find your beer? And it's like, I'm really sorry, but you can't. Like, you can find it within an hour driving of us, and that's about it.
Is that your distributing?
Yeah, because I'm our delivery driver. You know.
You are.
Yeah, so
where do you find the time to do that?
Well, it's being a firefighter is a pretty cool career in that it's 4 on, 4 off.
Right.
And because my wife also has 3 jobs, and my kids are in school, I usually try to do all my brewing stuff either before I go to shift or on my days off until about 1. And then I, spend some time with the family, and the afternoons and evenings usually are either teaching jiu-jitsu or spending time with the family or hanging out with friends.
So in between all of that, you're also driving, in any direction an hour
for deliveries.
Deliveries.
Yeah, and we're pretty particular about who we're delivering to right now, just because it has to be worth it.
Right.
Margins on cans in particular are pretty slim.
Yeah.
So it has to be a large enough order to justify it, and we'd love to do more. Even the local liquor store, we're in all the cold beer and wine stores run by locals, but we're not in the BC liquor store yet because the supply that they want, I don't know if I want that pressure on my time right now.
Fair enough.
And it's right now it's fun still. It's being on this side of the pandemic, I feel like we have our feet back underneath us, and it's become enjoyable again. And I'm looking forward to the future.
Good. Yeah.
But I don't want to drag myself down with growth right now. Fair
enough. Yeah. When you're able to can by hand like you're doing, but it's not just I forget the nozzle you're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's a 4-pack. We did see a little bit of that process happen at another brewery interviewed, and it looked enjoyable. It was a small family event, and
it's 2 of us. We throw on a podcast.
Exactly.
We're having conversation, and we can easily fill this fridge and the cooler in a canning day. It's a bit of a longer day, but it's
a grueling
fun.
Day. Yeah. But at the same time, it's what makes Beard's Brewing.
Absolutely.
It's
made with love. Right here in the heart of the North.
Yeah.
I love it, and it's creating jobs. It's creating jobs that people want to have.
Yeah.
That's another aspect where a lot of our, one of our bartenders is a single mom, and so we work around her schedule, and it's nice to be able to do that. Where maybe you're not stuck having to move or doing something that isn't very fulfilling. I always tell my staff, if you're not enjoying being here, find a new path. I love that most of our staff who have left us are still regulars. We have one staff member who does events for us all the time. She'll actually come back, and just because she loves the space, will take the time out of her own busy life to create some sort of an event for us. And I'm just grateful for that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Having that return clientele, and then also maybe they don't want to work here, but having events put on.
Yeah.
Them. And it's really cool having, a place. It's a big open spot. I mean, it's not big and open, but I mean, it is a good place to have events.
We love our space. Every month we have a mental health check-in with all of the vets in town. We have first responder discounts, obviously, being a first responder myself, for all the firefighters, police, and ambulance who we work very closely with in the region. And we've done drinking and driving events where we actually had police here with a breathalyzer, and we got our mayor and council a little bit drunk and found out like what the levels actually are around drinking. And it's a lot of people think BC is incredibly strict, but are shocked to find that you can have 2 pints and be okay. And it's and just using the space for whatever people want the space to be. I feel that it's not my space, it's the community's space. And so when people come and say, I'd love to display pottery and sell it, or I just wrote a book and I'd like to put them up on display and sell it, or those sort of things that can maybe help someone else who is wanting to chase their dream, move it forward. I love those opportunities.
That's great. I'm glad you shared your space with the community, and it just sounds like you're through this side project that you're doing throughout your extremely hectic schedule. It sounds like
I love what I do. I fill it with stuff I love to do.
Yeah, you're also opening your venue and your passion and side passion to better your community.
Yeah, I think if everybody gives a little bit back to somewhere that they love, we all grow as a result. It's the nice thing about being a community, and I'm just grateful to have the opportunity. Yeah. I'm extremely glad we were able to catch you this morning, and you had the time to. Well, thank you. Yeah, well, we made it work. I appreciate what you guys are doing and traveling throughout the province to showcase. I know most our population lives in a very, 90% of the population lives in less than 10% of the province, and it's pretty neat. I'd imagine the experiences that you guys have had just to see, all the things this amazing province has to give. It's
been wild, yeah. And, every community that we've been to so far, extremely welcoming, really friendly, Doesn't matter the proximity to a bigger town or a bigger city.
Yeah.
There's always, individuals like yourself that are just so tied in and welcoming and sharing and want to see their community grow. And
yeah, we want to give back. I want people to want to stay here. I love that I'm raising my family here. I love that, we can be on the lake in 20 minutes if we choose, and there might be no one else there. That we can go on these hikes and these adventures and not have to drive forever. And it takes small business owners and entrepreneurs willing to take the risk and potentially failing and learning and failing again and trying again and to create something local. Local entrepreneurs, I truly believe that the money made here stays here. Our expenses are spent in, if not our community, our province at least, and I love that.
Yeah. It's a good business model.
Yeah, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity.
Yeah, bolstering your community throughout your side business. Is there anything you would like to add to? This?
If you're ever in Fort St. John, come on down and check us out. Local brews brewed in the heart of the North. And for yourselves, if you want to make up a mix pack and take it and try something, it's just try something different. Try your local watering hole. Maybe step outside of your Budweiser and your Corona and your Miller drinks, and not wanting to put down on whatever you like drinking, and whatever.
Try something new.
Try something new. Yeah, and supporting local. That's the big thing. is, if you make a little bit of effort to support local, it often pays back dividends in the end. And I didn't personally get into this for the abundance. It was more the creation and chasing a dream, and I really just want my kids to believe that dreams are possible, and for them to feel willing to maybe chase theirs.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to approach young, up and coming people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let them.
It's hard. It might not come easy, but what you learn about yourself and about the process along the journey, it's worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying those different avenues and failing. Learning from failing is, extremely important, because then eventually that succeeding is just that much sweeter, and you also learn a lot.
It's not about the end goal; it's about the journey.
Yeah.
And that's what starting a business really teaches you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, Stephen.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah. Likewise. Yeah, this is a great spot here.
I appreciate that. Thanks for coming.
All right, thanks, folks.
Can't always be so catastrophic.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. We're in the middle of the Lido Theater.
We are in the middle of the Lido, yes.
We are. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I am Brian Kirshner from the Lido, although some of the folks from Fort St. John that might be viewing this may know me. For those of you that don't, this is Emma.
Hello.
There. She's
Thank
new to
you.
Fort St. John,
I
not this
am.
old guy.
No, that is very true. You've been here, what, you said 55 years? 56
Yep,
years?
family moved here in 1966.
It's a good amount of time.
Yeah.
And you've stayed very deliberately. What's kept you here? What
I
do you
didn't
like about
stay
it?
all the time. I mean, you do little Peter Pan get-outs. 1980, I moved to Edmonton for a year. Thought, I'll try that, and moved away, did some construction there for about a year, and I like Fort St. John, so I moved back.
What do you like about it?
You know what? It grows on you.
Yeah?
It's small enough to be big and big enough to be small. We could use more amenities, some of the things that we like to leave town to go and see and to purchase. But for the most part, it's down home. It's just earthy. You can drive 5 minutes and you're in the wilderness,
I do love that about
Yeah, it
your
is
town.
nice. Yeah.
That is really nice. And it's so beautiful in every direction.
They call it the wide sky country for a reason. I don't know if you know that.
I know that now.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's just you look around and it is wide.
Wide-eyed, wide skies.
Wide skied, yeah. That's good. You should do the logos for Fort St. John.
Oh, it'd be great. Come visit. Much more than you thought.
Yes. It's bigger sky. A friend of mine wrote a song called Big Country, which is all about Fort St. John and growing up here and stuff, and it's a great tune. Name is C.C. Brooks. Really, he's an instrument of Fort St. John, another product of Fort St. John, actually, born and raised here. But there's just so much to offer here as far as opportunity. And I know when we got transferred here, meaning we, not like us kids had an opportunity to say yes or no, but when Mom and Dad transferred here in '66, it was supposed to be for 2 or 3 years. Dad was going to start up the base for CPR, and it was just supposed to be a quick get the base set up. A couple years later, you're gone. And Dad's now buried in the Woodlawn Cemetery here in town. And it's just life carries on, and it's got lots of good memories here for us. You wonder how old people used to deal with age, because now I'm 62 and I'm looking at it and going like, wait a second, 62 isn't old. And I look at how much time I have left, and it's just so weird because my dad passed away at 60.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, young man. And now I look at it, and as I'm getting close to my 60th birthday, it's like, jeepers, how scared he must have felt,
Yeah.
at that point in his life. And it's just, there's so much life to live, and we'll talk about it later, maybe in our discussions about my plans moving forward with my big corner store, so to speak. But yeah, Fort St. John has a thing about it, and most people that come here, they already have an exit strategy. They're here just for a little while, just to make some money, maybe get a career, and then they go somewhere else.
Yeah, we keep hearing that again and again, actually. Lots of stories of people that came for 2 years, maybe less, and then just stayed. And decades later, they still love it. They still want to be here. It says a lot about a community.
And people will, retire. They will move away, and they'll end up moving back. Any place that you are is where you are and what you make of it. The beauty about Fort St. John is the fact that the lifestyle that you have allows you to be able to afford the outs, the holidays, the chase a palm tree. We don't have palm trees in Fort St. John. And we got god-awful winters, 40 below and long, long stretches. But But there's a lot of pluses to being here, and it's the people is the biggest thing.
We keep hearing that too. There's a lot of people that really rave about community, about the connection that they get to have with everyone else around them.
Yeah.
Says a lot. Says a lot about
when this place closed, I look at the demise of I'm going to say every downtown in every city,
all right,
in all of Canada.
All right.
They're all horrible. They all just suffer this terrible death, and it's just, you get the homeless situation, and you get, I don't know, everything just gets worn out. And they keep, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to follow you. So you're saying there was a shutdown with the downtown of having the theaters closed down?
No, it's just what ends up happening is one theater, the mainstays of most little communities, were the ball diamond, the curling rink, the hockey rink, the movie theater. I mean, whose first date wasn't going to the Lido, and trying to hold hands or sneak a kiss or whatever, right? Those kinds of things. And I remember being in this building and listening. There was an old boy named George who used to give us all a lot of trouble coming in, because we gave him a lot of trouble when we were in. And you would hear the ting, ting, ting of the beer bottles. They would start at the back of the theater. They'd sneak, not me, others, would sneak beer in the back of the theater. And then when they finished their drink, they'd let the bottle go. And because it's an angle, it would go down like Plinko, ping, 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 ping. And everybody'd laugh, and George would come in with his lighter or his lantern. Oh, and sometimes he'd catch you, sometimes he wouldn't. Lots of fun. But these are little stories of things that have happened in this building. What ends up happening is the building or the people moved on to being, they want more. We're so fast. We've got these things, that allow us to know everything so quickly and to remember things that we don't have to remember, like phone numbers, just a push picture. But having the Lido, there was only one movie playing for 2 weeks at a time. The Titanic, I think, played here for 4.5 weeks. It just can't sustain that. And so they came out with these fourplexes. You could go 4 different movies. So little Johnny could go see The Avengers. Mom could go see Gone with the Wind, and Dad could go see an action flick. There was just an option. And then everybody would go to the movie, and then they'd meet in the lobby and leave. So there's so much of an opportunity to see so many different things, but you couldn't do that in a single screen theater. When this place was built, it was the elite. The newspaper said, it was, C.C. Brooks had a vision. He was a small in stature guy, short, but big dreams, and he would love to go to Vegas, and he came back, and he kind of emulated this after a little bit of a Vegas feel. It doesn't look like it now, because it didn't look like this before I renovated it, before I bought it. But what ends up happening is these old theaters in every community, which are always in the downtown core, they end up dying. People turn them into pool halls, or you maybe turn it into an office, or it'll be a homeless. And it's such a horrible thing, because they are built to be a certain way, to be soundproof, which means that they have extra insulation, they have extra construction that goes into building them, and they are solid. This is going to last a long time. It's 65 years old, built in 57, so it's 65 years old now. And it's got another 60 in it for sure. Definitely long after I'm gone, for sure. And it's so being able to come here, and I remember this wing up here. You can't see it from there, but it's the one same as the one behind us. And I remember coming in here and looking at this in 2002. Landmark Cinemas closed the Lido, and they moved down to the Totem Mall, where there's an existing fourplex. And I remember coming in here and going up in that attic and looking around at all the rows and rows of seats and thinking, you know, this could be so much more. And I know age-wise there's a slight difference, a year or two between us.
Just a year or two.
But I remember going to a Glass Tiger Honeymoon Suite concert in 2005, I believe, at our cultural center in Fort St. John. Beautiful building, great sound system, different vibe. You know, it's the seats are on an angle and it's rows and it's sit and listen. It's not designed to dance and move about the building. Well, I went there and I remember seeing the bands and listening to the songs going, oh, I remember that one. I remember that one. I remember that one. The 80s was such a great time for music. But everybody sat in their chair. You know, it's like, oh, and then so
Feels weird.
2 or 3 people would stand up and get the music in them. And then everybody be up and they'd be doing like this and they're dancing to their song, right? And it's just so tight. And I was thinking, wouldn't that
Feels
be nice
weird.
if you could have something between a soft seat, cultural center style theater and the good old bar? You know, where you go down and you go to the honky-tonk bar or the rock bar and you dance and nothing good happens, you know, after midnight. Or nothing good happens at 2 a.m.
I think it's
when
around
these bars
2 a.m.
close.
is the shift. But
Yeah, that's when
as you were.
Yep. And it's just something where people can go, enjoy an evening entertainment, 4 or 5 hours, and you're home by midnight kind of thing, you know? We do stay open later on some occasions, depending what they are, but for the most part, we're an in and out, one-trick pony. We're open when we're open, and it's a neat style of business to have. You know, we've done some really first things. John Yap had gone through the province of British Columbia trying to rewrite the liquor licensing policy.
Oh.
You were never allowed to serve alcohol in movie theaters. You weren't allowed to show live sports in movie theaters. There's a whole bunch of things that you weren't able to do. And so John was going through the province talking to people who were involved in this industry, be it restaurants, be it bars. They forgot about the Lido, because the Lido Theater, we're not a bar, and we're not a restaurant. And what are we? Well, there's this third license called Concert Hall Stadium Auditorium, which is what we were governed under. So we never even got invited to the meeting. And then our MLA, Pat Pym at the time, reminds, oh, we forgot all about Brian. So he actually phoned me and said, I'm sorry, we've already done the morning session. The afternoon session is going to be, you know, after 3:30, 4 o'clock. Could you come now? And I said, sure. So I went over there and they had this little lunch spread set out and I talked to John, the 3 or 4 people that were with him, the mayor, the people that were with our MLA, and it was just me. And so we're talking about the you know, rebuilding liquor licensing and that. It was quite interesting. I was really proud of the fact that when he wrote up his report, he actually put a piece in there all about the Lido.
Oh, wow.
And about this is how he would like to see the service of alcohol moving forward in the future. You know?
Yeah. And so then I guess obviously it succeeded. You have a liquor license. You've been able to have shows and serve alcohol.
Oh, did you ask me if I paid penalties for doing things wrong? I thought you might have.
Now I will, yeah.
Oh, I got in so much trouble. I tend to ride the gray area a lot. I don't want to be illegal. I don't want to be a rebel. I don't want to be. But what I want to do is to be able to grow in a direction that really is good for all. And so the fact of going and wanting to show the Stanley Cup when the Vancouver Canucks made their 2 years of glory where they were running for the cup. And I remember being in the upper VIP with the liquor licensing lady, and we were discussing what I needed. And I wanted to go full screen, and I wanted to serve beer and popcorn and have people show up. And,
Be a great event.
We did. We did a few of them, but then then they said that, well, you can't do that because that's not live. And I said, well, it is live. If we show the UFC, and somebody goes boom, and he's cut and he's bleeding. He's actually bleeding, just not in Fort St. John. He's bleeding down in Vegas. So it is a live broadcast. And so the definition of liquor licensing, they actually rewrote the book. My correspondence is this thick back and forth with lawyers and constant and fines and things like that. But anything worth fighting for, and change is usually that, it's a good thing. And so now the whole province of British Columbia, you can show stuff in movie theaters. And I know you guys have the Rio Theater.
Oh, yeah.
And she came along after I had already done all my stuff. And it's interesting because she's more known, I guess, bigger community. But, you know, I went down and had a good conversation with her. She's trying to do the same thing. Just give people what they want.
Yeah, yeah, and she actually went through a huge fight recently. I don't know too many of the details of it, but there's a big Save the Rio campaign because we just about lost the Rio about 3 years ago now, I think.
Remember COVID, 5 years ago now? Yeah, I know she, what was her name again?
I always
It'll
blank.
come to me,
I
but
blank, yeah.
you know, a super lady. I really like what she's trying to do there. It's the same thing. I mean, why not utilize that building for what it's designed for?
Yeah.
You know, I remember going down there, and I had strongly suggested that she perhaps maybe remove the chairs, remove the rows and rows and rows of chairs. I call them the excuse me seating, because everybody who goes into the theater wants to sit on the outsides. You know, in an airplane, you want to sit in the, you know, and you go, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, as you go by everybody,
It's true.
and it's elbows and butts. I would use a different word, but it's a PG show.
Good call.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
call.
catching myself.
Yeah, well done.
But
That's
it's
hard.
so important to realize that what she wants to do, what I want to do, we sometimes feel over-regulated, over-mandated, over-governed. You know, I think government sometimes should just get the heck out of the way. You know, within reason.
Yeah.
But just get out of the way and let
Support small
entrepreneurs
businesses.
do things. Yeah.
Yeah. And let's just backtrack a bit though. So in 2005, you saw this need for something like the Lido, something between a bar and then sit down, like soft seats that you talked about.
Right. Yeah.
So then what? So you bought the Lido, and what did you make it into? Like, what is it now?
Gosh, if I went through the list of what we do, many of the things that you would obviously think that we do here, which are, you know, we'll show documentaries. Canada's Dying with Aaron Gunn. He just came through. Great documentary if you get a chance to see it. I was really impressed with the work that he did and the problem that we have. But we do weddings. We've done probably 25 or 30 weddings.
Oh wow.
You know, where the groom comes down this side and the bride comes down here, and then they meet up. It's just...
Pretty nice.
It works really, really well, and we can photograph it from all angles, and everybody can see that same thing, and not that they're the same thing, but we also do funerals. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Marriage is good. My marriage is great. I'm happy. But
In my mom's business, we call that catching them coming and going.
yeah, she's a funeral director.
She's a celebrant. She does weddings and funerals and child blessings and any life ceremony.
Nice.
Yeah, when you get them at both ends.
Yeah, yeah. Friends of mine have the box that's sponsored over Hamry's Funeral Home, and they.
I noticed that.
We get you coming here going was what the thinking. Oh, okay, yeah. But I think, you know, the what I'm trying to say here. Where were we on that one?
I'm just trying to get a sense for people that aren't here in the room with us, trying to
What we do,
explain
sorry,
what
yeah.
the Lido is.
We are an all event center.
An all event center.
If you haven't, or if you have something you would like to do, we can do it. We do Christmas parties. We do business meetings. We do a lot of stuff where we're going to rebroadcast and send it over to Thailand, because the main head office for the oil companies in Thailand, and they want it, you know, distributed to the 150 people here. And so we do a lot of that. We do Daytona 500, the Super Bowl, you know, those kinds of Hockey Night in Canada. We do lots of comedy. K. Trevor Wilson from Letterkenny. I keep laughing. He got his start here, you know, because he got on to Letterkenny after he performed at the Lido, right? So,
Oh,
yeah.
I see. Yeah, that's a clear correlation.
Oh,
yeah, obvious.
We've got Sean
Straight lead.
Majumder coming in. We've had Pauly Shore here. I don't know if you're old enough for that one either.
Not it.
You don't know who the Wheeze is?
Nope.
Oh my gosh, those people in TV land will certainly know. Yeah, he's the guy who your father wishes that his daughter never met.
Oof.
Yeah, he's
What a
just,
fun person to watch on TV.
well, he's hilarious. He's just he's such a mess up. Anyhow,
sorry.
but the full catered meals, we've done private dinners for two. We've
Yeah.
done wedding anniversaries. We've done retirement parties.
So really anything you can think of,
Yeah.
Lido will find a way to do it.
And the utilization of song and sight and sound and all those kinds of things, that screen is big. So when we're doing a celebration of life, like it's big and everybody can see it. And if I'm ever asked to do, it's not called an MC at a funeral, but a lot of times, I try to convince people that one of the hardest things to do is to go up and talk about someone who's no longer here. It's a really, really tough thing to do. And you know what? I've had some real good people perform really good eulogies. And that clap is so important. Or laughter when they say something funny. Everybody goes in there so solemn and you play the chamber music and all. We've had people here who have passed away who love the movies. So they wanted a bowl of nibs and a bowl of popcorn on every table.
That's what I want eventually.
We should get that for you right now is what we should do.
I do kind of just want that now, yeah.
Yeah. But it is. I mean, it can be whatever you want it to be. You can decorate it up, you can decorate it down. We tried to make sure that everything we did in here didn't change what it would have looked like back then.
So you really tried to keep like the essence of the Lido here when you renovated, because you said you fully gutted it and fully redid it.
Not fully gutted, but there was no stage. The PA system wasn't in here. The lights weren't in here. The tables, the decks.
Oh, wow.
It was just rolls and rolls and rolls of old chairs. And I thought it was really funny back in 2007 when I bought the place. The Fort Hotel was trying to reopen, which is a big old hotel in the center of town. And I'd gone up on the very first day and I put up on the marquee, I got my ladder out and I flipped the lights on and I put a sign out there that says $5 says we open before the fort. Because they were renovating and I was renovating and we're both super old buildings and I could take them down. I knew I could. And it made it into the front page of the newspaper. And that's one of the ones that I have in the lobby now, one of my favorites. That it's just, and to think that it's, we're going on our 17th year. It's been a ton of fun. It really has. When you think about going to work every day and the people that I've met, the tears that have been cried in here at funerals and the libations that get consumed in here too, because we are fully licensed and we're fully licensed with minors. So we're really similar to going to the Legion or going to the seniors hall, that kind of stuff too.
A
right?
family event where if you are of age, you can also drink, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where mom can have a glass of wine, dad can have a beer, and the kid can have a root beer.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, it is. It's. I mean, the pubs are starting to be able to do that now too.
Yeah, it's a good way to go. In terms of the building itself, where are we now, and what other spaces do you have throughout the building? Oh wait, actually, and who won the bet? Who opened first? You guys or the Fort?
The Fort Hotel is that big empty lot that you see that got torn down on the corner of 100th and 100th. Yeah. Did I ever get my $5? No. Only one guy bet me, actually, or only one guy paid me, Gerald Pope. He came in with a crisp
Gerald.
$5 bill, and I put that actually in the picture that I got from the newspaper. And unfortunately, I don't know where it went. So he said he'd give me another $5.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Just
of him.
because, well, he comes here lots, and he really enjoys it. Like we'll do 150 people for a crib tournament.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Like and what
There's a lot
is
of crib enthusiasts in town.
well, you know what? It is and it isn't. Like I love playing crib, but I certainly don't want to do it all the time. I love listening to country music. Don't want to do that all the time either. I love rock music. Don't want to do that all the time either. So all these passions that we have, I think the key to and where I see this going future-wise is I would really like to not retire from the industry, but I would like to pass the torch. When I originally bought this in 2007, I was thinking that my son, who is Noble Son, is the name he goes by in Vancouver, he's a great singer-songwriter, great entertainer. He's got the it factor kind of going for him, and I really, super proud of what he's done for himself. Mm-hmm. But he can't do that here. being really good in Fort St. John doesn't mean that you're, international class, or if you want to be the best you can't do it in a small town. And so there moved my exit strategy, right? The whole idea was build the Lido, enjoy this, get the vision, put it together, and then
Hand it off to your son.
he can take it and run. Trouble is, he ran before he took it. So now, old Pop's got to be here running the Lido. So,
Then what's next?
we have listed it for sale. We are going to sell it hopefully this year. It does really well, especially in the sense that you're open when you're open. When we first bought the place, it was really difficult trying to get people up here. You'd go and you'd phone artists and acts, and the Lido. Where? I've never heard of that. No, well, it used to be a movie theater. Oh, okay. Yeah, right. But now, anybody who's doing a tour in Western Canada, it's an automatic call. We're almost like that cool little one that the Tragically Hip sings about with the checkerboard floor in Ontario.
Looking at you, Mike. I don't know that one. Mike might know that one. I don't know that one.
Yeah,
Which one?
it's just I can't remember. There's a maybe it's in Scarborough, Ontario, where it is, but there's a cool little place, just a tiny little dive somewhere. And the Hip used to sing about that it was such a great place to play, because all the artists who'd come through town, they're way too big to play that. Way too big. But they would go play it just because that's one of the places that you need to play. And we're hoping that the Lido has become that too. I mean, we've had all the classic 80s bands like Nazareth and April Wine, and Prism was just through here, Sweeney Todd. It's just, I mean, you have to be able to be diverse if you're going to survive. The theater industry is in a lot of trouble, the movie theater business.
Hugely.
And they just, the solution is we need to have multiplex theaters.
And jack up the prices.
Well, yeah, that's part of it. But so they go and they do the, I noticed that too.
Thank you for kicking it.
It swung. So the movie theaters, I always love these live ones, right? The movie theaters, trying to survive in this industry, for big blockbusters like Harry Potter or something like that, 95% of the ticket price would go to the studio that produced it. So on the real blockbuster, sure, they get thousands of people coming in the movie, but thousands of dollars versus, you can't make it. So what are you going to do? Well, the popcorn's super expensive. If you get the little pirate pack for the kids, the cost of going to the movie theater is extremely expensive. But they need to do that because the real estate they're typically in is usually in the center of town, somewhere really in a good location. And so what ends up happening is it's built on the importance of people seeing so many movies. And the streaming now is kicking that in the butt because you can't, how do you compete? I got really nice ice cold beer, or I've got a bottle of red at home and we're going to watch it. You don't have to worry about sitters. You don't have to worry about going out, that kind of thing. The interesting part about movie theaters was that you would go and you'd go on a date, but really not interact. You and I'd be sitting there,
the community element,
and we'd be
the,
just
being
watching like
together.
this. And I might eat some of your popcorn, and you might eat some of mine.
I would take all of your nibs, but
exactly.
the community aspect is so important.
Well, there's
to
no
watching a
interaction.
movie.
There's no body there. There's no people communicating with each other.
Yeah, and that's a huge part of movies. That's why in the 40s and 50s, why we had all of places like the Lido, we built movie palaces because it was the place to go. It was the place to be together.
And you were there an hour before the show, and you'd be in the lobby, and
I personally would have been still 15 minutes late, but most people would have been,
yeah. They call that Brian time, here in Fort St. John, Almost made it on time. But it's something that's really difficult. And one thing that I've found here, and I'm so proud of what my wife Cindy and I have built, is that people come here with an intention. Like every show we do, almost every show, except the Saturday matinees and things, but the doors open at 7. The act goes on, or I go and introduce the show at 8 or 8:15, and they go on, and by 10:30, 11 o'clock, you're done, you're home.
Wait, do you introduce all the acts?
Yeah.
All of them?
Just about, unless somebody else wants to do it, sure.
It's a lot. a lot of acts.
There's a lot of acts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
lot
and
of
as you went through the lobby, you saw just some of them with the renovation because of the Luna Lounge that we built up top.
Yeah.
We haven't put some of the new or the old new picture frames back up of artists who have been here, right?
And the Luna Lounge, I heard that's new. Tell me all about it.
And is it legal? Well, it is now. It wasn't when I started. Yeah. Sometimes I have that gray thing we talked about a little earlier. Yeah. Yeah, I might hit a gray area.
It's interesting though, because it's just, like we've been lucky enough to talk with a lot of people across the province, traveling and such, driving the dusty tracks. But in Cranbrook, we met with someone who's renovating a theater called the Armand Theater, and he and a couple other buildings in town have to really run into trouble trying to renovate and trying to maintain the upkeep of really old buildings. Same thing, built in the 40s, 50s, 60s. And turn them into something modern. And they've run into so many different issues trying to renovate it and trying to manage it and trying to keep it legal.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
We have ways. Yeah,
So
there are things that I knew before. There are things that I know now, and there will be things I will know in the future. But what I look at is there are ways to salvage what we have as far as these old vintage movie theaters. In Dawson Creek, which is a place that you were just at recently, lovely little town. Hey, we're so close. It's always that interaction between them.
We've been
Dawson's.
waiting for someone to say that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
We interviewed some people and they're like, "Oh, Dawson Creek's beautiful. We love it." And we were like shook because everyone in Dawson Creek was like, "Oh,
oh no.
Fort St. John."
Then you're not talking to the old enough back in the old arena days. And Jimmy Hewson, who used to be the voice of the Vancouver Canucks, I think he's just recently retired. He's from Fort St. John.
No way.
And that guy did a bit of I think it was a 5-minute spot, and he talked about one of the greatest rivalries in hockey. And he said, I'll tell you what, it was between the Canucks and the Flyers. And I'm not talking Vancouver and Philadelphia. I'm talking Dawson Creek Canucks and the Fort St. John Flyers. They had Black Jack Shellac or whatever the heck his name was, and he was a mean bugger. And he would talk about the whole stories, and Jimmy would go out there to the car, because it'd be 40 below, and you have to go start during every period. So he'd run out there, and he'd start the car, and he'd listen to the commentators talk on the radio about the game. Oh, it's starting. He'd turn it back off, and he'd go back in, and he became one of Canada's best-known sports broadcasters.
Yeah, I don't sport, and I know his voice.
Local boy does well. Yep.
It's a good story.
It's great.
So what is the Luna Lounge?
The Luna Lounge is when we do things here, there's many times where I look at it and go, gee, I wish we had more business in the summer. Gee, I wish. And part of what came out of the Luna Lounge was due to the COVID issue that went rampant through the world. Person can take either side of any. Politically, we're right in the middle on everything. It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what you think. If you care what I think, or I care what you think, then it does matter. But for the most part, people pushing things on is so not important. I feel that at COVID time, we were not able to open. And then we were, okay, you can open with half capacity. Oh, nope, not half. Now you're down to 50 people. And then it was so hard to get through it.
Yeah.
And our income was down 95% over COVID. Not good.
No, that's tough. That's really
It is tough. It is
Yeah.
really tough. And you know what? We weren't like the restaurants where they would have to go in every morning and they're slicing the tomatoes and they're getting the grills ready and then nobody can come. Nobody can come. It's so difficult. So me and my wisdom, I thought, you know what I should do? Why don't I build a rooftop patio? Actually, originally I started out as a roof repair. And that is definitely genuine. I used to have a deck up top where the staff could go outside to smoke if they wanted. And I had a deck up there. It was looking a little old. So I thought what I would do is I would build this or rebuild my deck. And in doing so, why don't I just build it a little bit bigger and cover my whole roof? Because then my roof won't deteriorate. And still use the same water channeling system to get rid of the water on the roof. And I thought, I'm pretty smart. I'm a smart guy. So I got 2 lifts of lumber when lumber was at its ultimate highest it's ever been.
Good timing.
Oh, you mock me. Oh, okay, yes. Nice mockery. Yes, it was a horrible time, thank you. I paid way too much for it. But we started building it, and Canfor was great. You know what? They gave us a family pricing on it. They have their Christmas parties here. It's community. It's so much involvement. And so I didn't want anybody to see what we were building. So I hung their Canfor banners all the way around the outside, and they sat there for quite a while because the city came in and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" So I'm just doing a little roof repair. Oh. It ended up turning out looking a lot like a deck. And so when I decided I was going to make it into a deck, we cut a hole in the side of the building and pushed the wall out, and we had a hole. And now my Canfor banner wouldn't hold or wouldn't hide the what was being built. So they came up and said, "You need to get permits, and you need to get engineering, you need to get..." So, okay, he caught me. So we did. We ended up building this thing. I believe that this is what's going to save the entertainment industry, because you can do everything from a movie to a play to a magic show to absolutely everything, and there are one of these in every community.
Yeah.
And my dream is to sell this and fly to Cranbrook, fly to Etobicoke or whatever, and because where they've got these theaters, everybody can do this, and it's really neat because you're only open when you're open. So if I'm ordering dinner for how many people, I know exactly how many people are going to be coming to the Lido for dinner on that Christmas party. It's 127 meals. Okay, I'll order 130. And every one of those, there's no waste. And if there is leftover, we get to package it up and we give it to the Salvation Army or the hungry. And it's just, I don't know, I really believe that the single screen theaters have a real good potential to be the form of entertainment presentation in almost every community.
Yeah, I honestly agree with you completely. Like, I really liked your description of like I like all these different things, but I don't want to do them constantly. And I think that is so true with a social expectation of the town. You're like, I want to be able to go and see shows, but I don't want to see the same show on repeat. So to be able to have somewhere that does all of those different things, that like has music, has the magic show, has the wedding, really, really valuable to a community.
We unfortunately we're governed differently than nonprofit societies. Civic theaters, civic arenas, those kinds of places, they get grants, they get money, they get millions of dollars every year, and not us. We don't get that. This is the first year we actually made an application for a grant from Creative BC. And they gave us a grant to revitalize a thing we used to have called Strawberry Jam. And it's so important to have, I have no idea why I called it that.
What is it?
It is you've heard of open mic or jam sessions. That I just called it Strawberry Jam because we bring the sweet taste of local music. That's mine. You can't have that one.
And you said mine was bad for saying we had our own mic and only took 2 mics from TELUS.
Yeah, exactly. But so it's something that was designed to get the people out of the garages, get the people who love playing, and put them on that stage. It's totally different when you are playing in the basement, or you're playing even in a real small place, a little tiny stage in the corner. When you get here and you got the sound and the lights and actually somebody engineering your sound for you, and it takes you out of that, and you quickly learn if you are, or if you really do like that. And if you get bit by the bug, it's a terrible, terrible road. Just ask my son. He makes all this money doing all these other things, and he pours it into his music, as does any musician. My brother, I think you met him as he came through
briefly,
earlier. Yeah, he's playing up in the Luna Lounge tonight. He's up from Vancouver. All of his friends are going to come out and see him and stuff, and have a couple of cocktails, and it's going to be great. I do think that the evolution of theaters are this model. It's kind of arrogant sounding, I know, but I do. With what John Yap has said, the amount of money we've raised with these 4 walls is insane by just doing fundraisers. The Women's Resource Center, the Salvation Army, 100 Women Who Care, they all come in here Association for Community Living is another huge one. They all come in here and they're able to generate big dollars. You know, people raise hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're probably well over millions of dollars, or $1 million that has been raised within the box for the community.
That's amazing.
It is. It's really cool, and everybody seems to like it because people have grown up with it. Mm-hmm. So even the people that they all it's like they own it. It's like they're a piece of it.
Community space.
They go, I remember I worked there. Oh, I've been up there. That was the projection room up there when it still is. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what do you love most about the Lido?
The next event. Yeah, I'm really driven by that whole, when I was telling you that my parents moved here in '66, Dad was an airline employee, so therefore we were airline brats. Not like Air Force brats, but airline brats, right? So we would travel very, 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 very cheap. So we went to places before they were really on the map. Like Fiji was, third world almost the first time we were there. But we didn't always go as we became teenagers. And so Mom and Dad would go. This guy, now she's ever watching, she's gonna know, I had some of the best parties. House full of people. They had a pool table and a ping pong table and a shuffleboard, some of the fun stuff. Well, what you do is you need those things to occupy people. If people are just sitting there doing this, or the good game, let's play shots or let's play beer pong or whatever, it's the quick to intoxication thing it's not that good. Nothing will good come from it.
That's true.
So we've had in the backyard of the party at my parents' house, we had the band Simon Chaos before they actually left town. And Simon Chaos became the #1 bar band in Western Canada. They're actually playing at the Energetic County Fair. These guys, they got so close to getting to the big show. And they were all just a bunch of young guys, all the sound equipment you could think of playing in the backyard. And I think Mom didn't know that I had these parties, sure. But I had the bug, the urge to do that, right? Mm-hmm. And then I started, joined the Rotary Club, and that was a big thing. And we're always doing events and stuff. And we did the Millionaires Dinner, we did the Lady Luck, and all these kinds. And that's running events was kind of something I really liked doing. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, okay. And then this came up. I remember doing the 100th anniversary of Rotary in Fort St. John, and we put on a heck of a thing. And it's just right after that is when I bought this and kind of thought, But I can't believe it's been that long. That it's been 16
years.
Well, just starting year 17, yeah.
Wow. How long does it feel like?
If you didn't know when you were born, how old would you be?
Fair.
So I think I think it helps to keep a person young. I'll tell you what, it's the people that I meet, and we put them on pedestals. Mm-hmm. Miles Goodwin, April Wine, wow. Mm-hmm. And Miles is just another guy. He's got things that make him angry. He's got things that make him happy. Jimmy Rankin, wonderful, wonderful human being. Really like him. There's some other artists that are prima donnas. Don't much like them, but you know what? They'll sell lots of seats, and everybody really does love them, and they tout that they're one thing, and behind the scenes they're not, but it's okay. We're all kind of actors. We're all just playing a role as we go through life, and we're just doing what we can to get through. And hopefully you look back on your life and you look at the wake that you leave behind, and you hope that if it's straight, your wake should not be this way. It should be like all over hell.
It is interesting to hear because you talked before about how many different careers you've worked.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that right at the very beginning, throwing parties as a teenager, you were putting on events. Mm-hmm. There's very much a direct correlation. This does seem to be what you love to do.
Clean up, set up, monitor, tidy up, fix up, reset. Yeah, rinse and repeat. Yeah, it's it is interesting about how it gets in you. I have no idea why I like my tablecloths straight. But I'll go into a room and I'll notice that there's a light bulb out, and maybe it's OCD. Maybe they get so many definitions of everything. I just good enough is never good enough. Or that'll do. That's another word I just don't like those words. You know, why not, if you're going to cut your lawn, why not cut your rows straight? It's the same distance from here to there. In fact, it's actually shorter. But here I'm talking about that, and then the second end I'm talking about this wake that you lead in life.
I was going to say,
yeah.
You want straight lines in the lawn and twisty lines in life.
But then you know if things are out of line, right? And if you intentionally go out of line, like if you're going from here to Moncton, you know, I would hope that you're going to pull over in Grand Prairie, or I hope you're going to pull over in Edmonton, or go see the, you know, this life is like that. You take all these little courses and things off of the main stretch, and you enjoy the go through. So many people are sad and angry right now.
It's true.
It is, and I just don't understand why. Maybe they feel fruitless. Maybe they feel like they don't have any control or any power, but we all have all the control we want. If you don't like what you're doing, stop it.
And how do you see, like, how does the Lido fit into that? Do you get to give people a happy place to be?
Bingo. Yeah? Who's my hero? Walt Disney. Oh, yeah.
The happiest place on earth.
Yeah. You know what? I think that might be taken.
Yeah,
but the best
we
thing
might
could
get
happen
sued
is
now,
that
but-
Walt Disney to sue me. Actually, when I was even contacted by the NFL,
What?
because I was going to show the Super Bowl.
And they said no?
They said, no, you can't do that.
Oh.
So
That's
I said, do you have any idea where we live?
Can you point to us on a map?
Yeah. And do you remember when Canadian Idol was such a big deal? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had their lawyers phone me. Cease and desist. I did something called Peace Idol, which what we did is we made an event. We had people from all over the Peace Country come and try out. We had lanyards. We had judges that we flew in to judge this thing. The winner, we flew them down. They actually got... so once I got past this cease and desist thing with their lawyers, I said, send me all the stuff. He said, okay. So I sent him everything that we had relative to this event. And he goes, well, it looks like you're kind of doing it upright. I mean, your logo looks quite a bit like ours. And I said, no, actually, I think it looks a little bit better than yours. But, you know, I was just being cocky, right? So anyhow, we ended the phone call on Friends. And if you went to the Canadian Idol website, you would see Peace Idol as actually on there. So
I'm gonna see if I can still
stirred
find
a
that.
few. Well, yeah, I've still got the footage of all the artists that tried out for it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and some have furthered their career. Some have become substantial in the industry. Yeah.
What's your favorite event that you've put on over the years? Is there a couple that stand out?
There's things that we shouldn't have been able to do that somehow it just happened. And I would say Kentucky Headhunters.
What's that?
That is it's so. Do you have any older interviewers or anything like that? Somebody like my own age that I can. I love
okay.
the Kentucky Headhunters.
No, sorry. We've
No,
got
they're such a
distinctly young audience,
great band.
but-
They are booked constant. They're out of Kentucky, obviously. Great bunch of Southern guys, and somehow they were just happened to be in Grand Prairie playing in a festival, Bud Country, I think. And what ended up happening is Byron Stewart, who I'd hired at the time, he just reached out to their management and said, "Hey, can you you're interested in doing a play? Sure, we're close, yeah." So they drive up here. They go to the Alexander Mackenzie Inn, which was then.
How many names has that place gone through?
No.
It's not important. It's not important.
It's
Yeah,
not
good.
done. No, it is important because it is. I mean, because we as people in small towns, we just go down to Mackenzie Inn and take the first right.
Could not point to
Well,
it.
there's no Mackenzie Inn anymore
No.
because it's not that, right?
Is that now the Ramada?
No, Ramada's downtown.
Okay.
Yeah, the Ramada
the-
used to be
The Pioneer Inn.
Pioneer Inn is now Ramada.
Yeah, and in between there was a different one too.
Yep.
We're learning it. It's a way to date when people move to town.
And you know what? That is part of being in a small town, seeing the changes. I mean, I've seen wooden sidewalks. You know, you've seen the evolution and the burning down of our one arena and the building of another, and just
Yeah.
the
I don't know if that's just small town things though, because that's really like any community you grow up in. If you're there long enough, you see the change. Like I still refer to things in Vancouver very incorrectly compared to anyone else who recently moved to the city because it's just like it changed owners or it was
Yep.
resold or like for whatever reason. Like I get still confused when people refer to the Rogers Arena.
Okay, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dawson Creek has the Ovintiv Event Center and no longer, I can't remember what it used to be called. But,
Yeah,
things change time. And it's just basically the rights to name something. You know, we have lots of individuals in here that have assisted the Lido to become what it is. I mean, that is the Probe corrosion box. That's Clean Harbors. There's Collison Zunard. There's, you know, so I go through all these, and these people have a real desire to see this succeed. So that's their corporate box. So anytime they want to come to a show, they just phone us and say, we want that. And they get a reduction on tickets. And for that, I mean, you know, we do some gratuitous advertising and that, but it all helps because, like I was saying earlier, we don't have funded money. You know, we don't have that ability to, you know, not for profit. I think it's one of the dumbest things that I've ever heard of in the business world is not for profit, because you have to make a profit. Where does the money come from? You can't pay people with shells anymore. You know, the bakers won't trade you.
When could you pay people with shells?
Oh, in the very beginning.
Are we
in the cave when people used
talking
to
thousands of years ago?
Oh, yes.
Because I feel like, okay, well, I mean, I feel like we've made a few other changes too that might also make the shells obsolete, but we'll save that for another time. But in terms of, even though you're not, even though you're differently funded, you are still very much part of the arts culture in Fort St. John. And why do you think that's important? Why have an arts culture?
Well, that's interesting that you'd bring that up. We're not.
Not part of the arts culture? Tell me more. Why not?
It's the dirty little secret. I don't understand what it is. We have BC Festival of the Arts comes to Fort St. John every year. And this is a stage, this is a sound system, there's lights, it's got everything in it, everybody can see it. They never, ever, ever use the Lido. You could do in here, you could do the spoken word, you could do play, you could do singing, you could do so many things. But for some reason, we're like I don't know.
But you are. I mean, like Bruised Orange, we interviewed Bruised Orange earlier this week.
Yeah.
And they just talked about the different shows they do here. Like you regularly have music shows. You have one playing tonight. So like, you are part of the art scene though.
Oh, yes, we are. But we're not part of the Arts Council. There's a group, there's a body in town and that works out of the cultural center that is the Arts Council.
I'm talking about the arts culture. The part of the fabric of the town, more so, more in a zeitgeist theory than a literal.
Zeitgeist,
yes.
The Germans.
Yeah.
Yes. Then there's a bit of the English language is interesting.
Yeah. It's
I
not
agree.
my strength.
I think that what we, as a person growing up here, there was so much to do. We had so many nightclubs. We had so many different things that we could entertain ourselves with. And now there's no nightlife. You know, the city wants to bring back the downtown revite, to make the downtown vibrant again. And it's funny how I think they get in Buffalo, they get these guys in there drawing French poodles, sitting at bistro cafes with beautiful trees and facades, and go, that's Fort St. John. No, it's not.
I haven't seen a single French poodle.
It can't ever be that. Well, we have a couple giant poodles. Oh, okay. But it's interesting because we are not that. We are a northern community that is cold and dirty. Like the town's not bad now because they've cleaned up all the gravel because they throw dirt on it all winter long, right? And then they got to get it all off in the spring. And so we have this few months of green and clean. But for the most part, we're a dirty oil town, and it's tough because we're never going to be that. So to think that we're going to have people living downtown, why? Why would we have somebody who wants to live downtown? So trying to reinvent how business is done, how downtowns are revited, I think that things need to change. Business as it has been done in the past is not going to be the way it can be done in the future because it's changed so much. Like curbing inflation by raising the interest rates. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Well, we won't go into interest rates for now. I think
we
that's
can't talk political?
We can talk political. Interest rates have me wanting to nap. If we have a chance to talk about arts and culture versus interest rates, let's talk about the art.
Exactly, but where does the money come from? People can't afford. If I can't afford to stay open, COVID and stuff, right? So what ends up happening is the struggle of the person trying to present this. Back in the day, every live entertainment venue had live entertainment. And then the live entertainment venues stopped being live entertainment venues. They just became watering holes. where you can throw darts and stuff maybe. I don't know. So what's happening is the digression of the arts and the entertainment because we can't afford to do it. How do you pay these people?
It is true. Arts
It's
always
so
needs more
sad.
money. It is really sad. Mm-hmm. It is really, really sad. Why is that important to you? Why though? Why should there be arts around?
It's what they look at years and years from now, isn't it? The paintings on the caves, the music that we all hear. I mean, that's something that is, it makes us smile. It brings in emotions. You know, you can listen to certain songs and they mean certain things. And then they had much music came along and video killed the radio star, which is that's not an untruth. It really
No,
is.
it's
They're
not.
telling you exactly what that song means. Oh, I never even thought it was that. You know, and so
true.
it's the evolution of it is where it's not actually as much of a honed craft. It's almost like artificial intelligence is taking over a bit. They can make all these other sounds. One person can do an album all by themselves in their basement. And then they can put it out onto a stream like Spotify that everybody has access to, but nobody but Spotify makes any money. And so it's interesting, how are we going to make sure that these artists get paid for their craft? Because a brother of mine, I have no idea how he remembers all those words and all those chord changes to all those songs. He's got 50 years of knowledge.
Yeah, it's amazing what artists can pull off. It's phenomenal. And you're right. It's what we're going to remember decades from now, hundreds of years from now.
Yeah.
Like we need that to make a community. It's like one of the first definitions of when somewhere actually becomes a community, like when a town is developing or something.
Yeah.
Speaking historically, once art starts to be made, then it's a culture, then it's a place.
Yes.
And it's like,
Yeah.
we've been talking a lot with like different artists in town, and like one of the things that people also keep coming back to is like this idea of a sense of place, and that a lot of artists in Fort St. John really have a strong sense of place in the art that they create. And I think that's why it's so important that something like this exists, is like you need to be supporting artists to make art from different places.
Yes.
We need art all over. Well, yeah.
I love the traveling artist. You know, it's kind of like the way you guys came in today, and you've got your cases, and because you are artists in your own right. I mean, you're not, everybody goes an artist to someone who sings or dances. No, it's somebody who
You haven't seen me
presents.
line up a camera. It is an artsy
That's
fartsy
twice.
scenario. That's twice now.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's a
Just stick it in your pocket.
it's a passion.
Your microphone.
Like
Where's your
that.
microphone? Perfect. It's a passion, you were saying.
Yeah, it is. It's something that you know. You don't make a lot of money at it. We've had lots of artists in Fort St. John who have gone out, similar to what my son's doing right now, similar to what my brother did way back when and moved to Vancouver. And you eventually get a job. Not that the arts
Like
or
a
singing,
separate job from arts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you want to have a family. You want a white picket fence, and it's really tough to do that on a T4 or without a T4. You know, you could be the guy picking up a couple $100 a night.
T4As go surprisingly far.
Yeah, money is the key, right?
Yeah, no, it's true. And I think like that's, there's a lot of questions, I think, and a lot of changes that are going to need to happen in the future in order to support arts. Because like we've seen it all over the province. We all see it all over the world. There's so much change happening in the way streaming services are being introduced. Like we are, again, at a huge pivot in the arts world, the same way like the Gutenberg press coming in was, or developing digital. Like it's a big shift that's happening. But,
And it won't, stopping the shift is not.
No.
It's not the answer.
no, never is.
Keeping it alive is important. Creative BC, I was saying earlier that we got a grant from them to revive Strawberry Jam. People liked it. It was an opportunity for artists to get out and hone their craft on a little bigger entertainment or a bigger stage. If nobody shows up, and this is a devil's advocate, and I always like, if you were to take one side in an argument, I would just take the other side just so that
I
we
could
could
see
have
that,
debate
yeah.
and it'd be
Yeah.
lots of fun.
Yeah, yeah, I could see
We'd
that.
quip and quibble. But I think that if a person has a true love of what they want to do as far as a craft, they need to be able to make money, so they quit that. So all these people from that have moved back to Fort St. John, like Craig with Simon Chaos, like my brother Ken, they move back to a small town. get that T4 or get out of the industry, the music industry more so, and they get out of that, but that's really their passion. If that's all they could do, they would go back to music in an instant. Ken the same way. You know, he got into the financial industry as well. Craig is now in the security business, but he's also, CC Brooks Country is his handle, and he's written some great tunes. You know, but what if he became famous? What if all of a sudden it hits? You know, and he wrote a song, Midnight Plane to Nashville. And it's interesting, it talks about, and this is a lot of the characteristics of someone in the industry. What if? I've got a girlfriend. Well, I got to leave you because I got to go on the road. And when you're on the road, there's a lot of girls that want to be your friend maybe because you're up there singing and you're a super, you know, and there's this whole, and what if you have children? Are you going to Now, the only people who can do this are like Craig had said, this like the Chris Stapletons, because he goes on the road, his whole family goes on the road. And then the nannies take care of the things, and they, you know, all those are taken care of. Not everybody can do that. You know, and whether it's that or whether professional golfers or ball players or hockey players or anybody that is not a blue collar craft type thing, it's better be a good passion, or you better be really good at it because it's a tough
Ideally
road.
both.
Yeah.
Ideally, yeah, but it's a tough road. Any type of arts, which is why, it needs more support because, art makes our world so much better.
But does it need support? Just to be that advocate. I mean, the interesting thing, if the Cultural Center has brought in, and it's a few years back, an oboe player. So they got this oboe player to come in and play the oboe because he's an oboe player.
I'm feeling like you don't like oboes much.
I have no idea why. I mean, I respect it. It's the same as the harp. You ever go and see a harpist?
Yeah, it's actually really impressive.
Oh, no kidding. That's a lot of
Very,
strings,
very
and
hard
it just
instrument.
flows so beautifully.
I don't even think I honestly have arms long enough to play a harp. Like, it's impressive.
Yeah, as is any instrument. But how many people want to go see that? And so is that craft to a point where somebody, it can afford to fly the best oboist in the world into Fort St. John to play, whatever, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $7,000, $10,000, and have 8 people show up. But they don't have to balance the books to do that. So if the arts became, and this is what's sad, this is why somebody will go by the way of the platypus or the unicorns or whatever, is that if there's not enough...
Very different animals, but I understand your point.
They're
Sorry,
both funny
continue.
looking. One's still around, and really, and the unicorn was, there may be a
Never.
story in there that I'm trying to...
Never around.
You don't believe in unicorns?
Okay, off the rails. Continue
Yes.
with your point about art.
So if there isn't enough interest in that, how come we have to prop that up? How come we do that to prop that up? Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't the fans dictate? Why wouldn't those people that want to see those kinds of things dictate that?
I think because fans alone are not enough to afford the livelihood of any artist. Because that oboe player,
Why are you going to pick on the oboe players?
I think you
Why you
started
gotta be like
picking on
that?
the oboe player, for starters. I'm going to stack all your chairs wrong. But
Remember, soft side out. Soft side out.
soft side in, yeah. Because I think, I don't think people can't pay enough to keep an artist afloat, I think. Because, just ticket sales wouldn't be able to afford a livelihood for a person. Not unless they're playing, like an artist can make a couple $100s in a night, usually,
Yep.
right? Like, a great night, $600, $700. That'd be an amazing night. And, that's not an income yet. And so I think if
Especially not
we're-
once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they'd have to be playing 7 days a week, and then that's the beginning of an income in the 21st century. And so I think there's if you're gonna say why support artists, I think the question is it just becomes a question of why do we need art? And if we need art, we need to support the artists because it's not. Yeah, I'm kind of losing my trail here. It's been a lot of interviews today, but you get where I'm going with this.
I understand for sure because
Yeah.
the people who want to make clay pots. I know I'm all over the.
Yeah, I'm
Come
keeping
on,
up, I'm
keep
keeping
up,
I'm
keep
keeping
up. So
you
the
lost
people-
me at platypus, but I'm back now.
The people who want to make clay pots, as a taxpayer in a community, why should I have to pay for a facility for someone to go make clay pots?
It's a valid question.
Well, and but this is part of it, right? And so I often wonder when you look at places like, and this is where our cultural center is going through right now, it is not a place to make things. It is not a place to create things. It is a place, or should be a place, to showcase things. And therefore, you can make your clay pots wherever you want. But for us to facilitate somewhere so you can do your hobby, it doesn't make sense. It's important to me that you like to swing on swings and you like to make, when do we actually, it's really hard. If the I don't know what they're called, if the clay potists in town, if they ever to hear this, I'd be in serious trouble. The potists.
The potters.
Yes.
Cursing the potters.
But
It's a real Dursley
it
move.
becomes difficult because the arts are such a hard thing to finance and to keep afloat. I look at Bruised Orange, Naomi loves what she's doing and she's creating her own music. My son doesn't want to sing other people's songs. He wants to sing his songs. But what he's doing is he's making a living doing other stuff so he can sing his songs. There he's self-sustaining. The grants that are out there, that's millions of dollars that are being put out there in the name of this is what people want. If you go by the parks and the playgrounds and look at the amount of money that's being spent on those as well, and where are the people? Why are they not in the parks? They're in their homes.
Have you been to Centennial Park lately?
Oh, but you know what's happening right now?
Before the Rib Fest.
Yes, I live here. Do you remember?
Barely. I've been talking a while. No, but there's it was a really full park.
Yep.
Centennial Park. Just to play devil's advocate, as that seems to be what we're doing, but that you have full parks here.
I would.
I mean, sure, not in -40 in January.
But I would also encourage you then to go and just have a little look at the one at Bird Ambrose. And interestingly enough, I never heard much about that one getting built at all. And it is a fabulous park. It has an outdoor arena and skate park and BMX track and has everything. And every time I drive by it, there's never anybody in it. And so as our governing bodies, these people that we elect, I'm going to spin all the way around to the not-for-profits and profits and stuff.
I see that, yeah.
Is that if they were made accountable and if the arts were doable, they would be able to self-sustain somewhat. I really wish that I've been forced to be able to make a profit. I'm down 95% for 2 years in a row. How do you survive that?
How did you survive that?
Make sure you don't carry debt. Make sure that when it's the sun shining, don't spend everything you have. Upgrade when you can, do the things you can to keep people interested, to keep people engaged. But it's really important to get to a point where you have no debt and you can survive. It's going to be some sad times coming up, and I don't mean for this to turn dark or anything like that, but it is. It's going to be some tough times with the way the economy is going now. And what ends up happening is it hurts us. It hurts the things of the extracurricular. It hurts the hockey night, and let's go watch the Canucks. Well, how many times can you do that? I think I should probably pay my rent first. The landlord wants that. And, so you go through these hurdles that you have in life, but we still want to have fun. And it seems like it's always the fun stuff, the stuff that makes our lives enjoyable, that they're the things we cut out. We shouldn't do that.
I agree.
So if they were to fund the Lido on a bigger, no, we're doing fine. But I do think that if all of the other centers, what ends up happening is centers like the Cultural Center or all these municipally owned places, they can afford to pay more money than we can for acts, because they don't. They have a mandate to bring in a certain amount of entertainment to a community. And we. I have to take the number and I divide it by the seats and I say how many things, and there comes a formula. And out of that formula, there has to be some at the end of it. There has to be. And if there isn't, we can't afford to do it. And I think if between them and the casinos, they make it very, very difficult on a entrepreneurial or a single type business. So my vision in the future
Do tell.
is that there are not necessarily Lidos everywhere, but there are single screen movie theaters all across Canada, and I would like to see us chain up. I would like to see us independently owned, where, you know what, I've got, who do you want to put? Gord Bamford, or I've got J.J. Shipwood, or I've got C.C. Brooks. And he's going to start in Halifax, and he's going to do a East Coast, then he's going to do Central Canada, then he's going to do, and we would have hundreds and hundreds of theaters that these people could go to, and the average person could go see a show.
That'd be amazing.
Want to do it?
Yeah. Let's do it. All right. That
It
is
is
our next
doable.
plan.
It is
Yeah.
doable, and I think that small is certainly a lot easier to run. These big centers, like the Ovintiv and Dawson and stuff, it's difficult. When you figure they do the one big show, and then they're closed for
Yeah.
till the next big show, which is 2.5 months down the road. It's a lot of real estate to keep relevant with. You know, it's cool. We got big shows. I never thought as a kid growing up that we'd see Kiss playing in Dawson Creek.
That's pretty cool.
Dawson, right? You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, hey, an hour away to go see Kiss instead of what, like 15 to Vancouver? It's pretty good. Or I guess less to Edmonton.
Well, we're
But-
fortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been talking your ear off for a good hour now, and you've got a show happening right about now.
Yeah, there's going to be a little thing happening up on the Luna Lounge.
What's
tonight.
happening?
I got my brother coming in. He's going to play some songs. We're going to have some, maybe some ciders or something up there. You know, it's
Sounds
hot.
pretty good.
The Luna Lounge is typically 10 degrees warmer than it is at ground level.
Oh my God, you're all gonna roast.
Oh, it's a cooker.
Yeah.
It's beautiful up there.
Roast alive.
And we're the only rooftop patio in Fort St. John.
Is that because it's 10 degrees hotter?
See, she's got to be bringing up the sad stuff. It's hot, but we're also above the dust.
That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice.
You want to know more of the bad stuff?
No.
You're supposed to get permits before you build one. I should have probably applied for a permit and then started to build. Might
You
have been
know,
a good idea.
We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
But truthfully, it sounds like it's been quite the success. We've heard some very good shows
It's done.
happen
It's
up
done
there.
okay.
Yeah.
I like to poke and prod and have fun and stuff.
Yeah. You
But,
can never take
um,
yourself too seriously.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you for chatting with us. You
No,
had one more
thank
thing
you.
to say. I cut you off.
Oh, no, you didn't cut me off.
Okay.
I was just waiting patiently for you to get over with what the heck you're going to say so I could talk again. I wasn't done talking.
I believe
Yeah.
it. I believe it. No, we could talk for hours because there's so much to say about arts and the Lido and,
Oh,
and
I
Fort
just-
St. John. But
And you know what? I think you're really going to enjoy your visit. You're probably sticking around for the Rib Fest thingamajiggy.
oh yeah, Mike
Yeah.
has been salivating all week over the ribs. Yeah, we're gonna go get some ribs at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, we need these things in our community to come through. We need the carnival. We need the rodeo. We need these are all things that are brought to us, which is great. So we don't have to go out and get them, which is really good.
So that's nice. Yeah.
But a big part about building the Luna Lounge was the fact that whoever buys this is going to want to be able to operate it year round. We like it because we can kind of almost close down in the summer, and just do.
Oh, okay.
We'll do a grad reunion. We'll do a 50th wedding anniversary. We'll do a few. Bless you. How long are you holding that one for?
Oh, ages.
Oh, gee, that a girl. But yeah, the whole point was that whoever takes this, I mean, we could have a show in here tonight. Sure, we're ready. Up on the Luna, we're ready. The whole point is that that someone's going to, or whoever buys this, is, we came up with a catch line: quit your job, start your legacy. And it's so neat, the video that my son curated or did up, and it just shows the Lido, all the stuff we've kind of done, and the age-old beast that it is, and I'm really thankful that we didn't go broke. My friends said that in the first year, or after the first year, that I thought for sure you'd lose your ass. And I said, well, why didn't you tell me that? I said, you never would have listened. You would have just said, you know what, it's doable, it is doable, head down, and just make it happen.
And I mean, 17 years later, you were right.
Every day it shows itself of the reason, and for me, it's never been about the money. It's been about the event. Just like throwing the party back at mom and dad's place, when I shouldn't have done it, and everybody having fun, and nobody fought, and John ended up getting together with Susie May, and it's just like they're still together. Yeah, that's redneck kind of sound, Ethel Ann, whatever. But it's important to have one of these in every community.
I agree.
And everyone has one, so they need to hang on to it. Dawson Creek built this exact theater in 1956, the year before the Lido. And guess what? Track hole. Boop, knocked it over.
Gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's been gone for 4 years now.
Yeah.
I went and had a look at it. Like I say, it is literally the exact same structure without, mine has a basement, that one didn't. But
Wow.
So quit tearing them down and let's build them up. And
Build
the
'em.
city of Fort St. John
Yes.
has been helpful in the end of making this happen. They're very proud of what we have here as well, as am I. And I think every community, the elected people should get the heck out of the way and let these things happen, because it'll
You're not
just,
wrong. Yeah.
I'm not right either, they said.
Living in that gray
yes,
zone.
yeah, it's been so rewarding. I wouldn't trade it. When you go back and, like we were saying about looking at the wake and that, hell, mine's just all over the place. But it's been really, really rewarding. We've made some big changes in Canada, in BC, which is really weird to say that, but
It's pretty cool.
yeah. Yeah, we've. Do you remember Weibo Ludwig?
Nope.
Weibo's War documentary blew up the. He blew up the pipeline, or they
Mike
supposed
does.
to have. Yeah.
Oh, I remember pipeline.
I
being
went to
blown
his
up there.
house.
Oh.
I went to his place, and he wanted to come in. Oh, we were wrapping this up.
We were, yeah. No, go on. As you
She
were.
wants to go.
As you
Mike,
were.
get over here. I got some things I want to talk to you about. But Weibo's War was him against the oil patch companies, and it was so interesting because I wanted to show it in here, but I don't want to do it without him here to talk about it. The same as I didn't want to do the chlorine in the water in the city of Fort St. John unless I got both sides to discuss it. A room full of people talking about chlorine in water, huh? I'd rather sit here and have a crib tournament. But when you do these things, it also becomes educational. Five times
How
I've
did you
dropped
go
that.
from 2 to 5?
Because I dropped it also down there.
Don't worry, it's only 3
Not
times.
her smartest
It's only
interview.
3 times.
How many?
3.
Look at how she does that. I would go like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's.
Oh,
yeah.
you're this way? You keep
Yeah.
your... Okay.
No, it's more.
Okay, we're off the rails.
It's okay. There's people out there who can't count to 3. No, I do believe that this has been fun. Somebody needs to take it and run with it and have a legacy. And I would love to go to any community at any time and have a look at these vintage old theaters.
Yeah, you should meet Freddie Belland, for sure.
Ferdy.
Freddie. He's doing.
He already
you
phoned
know
me.
him? He already phoned you?
Yeah, he phoned me before he bought it, or before the 2 investors bought it, and him running it. Yeah. Ferdy and I
Good.
had a conversation too.
Good.
Yeah,
okay.
he's a rocker from way back too.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. He took
Yeah.
us on a tour of the Armand Theatre that he's renovating, and then
Yeah.
a tour of the pub, where Cranbrook began.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we saw a metal show with him there. It's a pretty good time.
He's I've never met him, but we had conversation. He had heard through the grapevine about this place and from the artists and stuff, and his, the conversation we had, I think it was good. I don't know. Although when they did it with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of investment, right? This was Brian, and I got a skill saw, and I got a plumb bob, and I got an air nailer, and you just go out and you just build it. Because I didn't know what I wanted to build. So it was an evolutionary process. Ferdy's great. Yeah,
He's
I'm
awesome.
proud of what have they opened yet?
No, not yet. They're hoping this fall. There's a lot of
He's
asbestos.
been 4.5 years, eh?
It was a long process. I think that's also probably why they needed more of the investment, is because it'd been sitting for 20 years before he bought it, before they bought it. And so there was a lot of time spent in just making it safe for people before he could even begin the interesting renovation part. How do we want to style this, basically.
Right.
So they had years of work of doing the asbestos. He got because they had a lot of elbow grease has gone into that place as well.
Well, they
Ferdy-
changed a bunch of it too.
Yeah, and
That's what happens when you start pulling apart these older buildings.
Well,
That's
they-
when you get into trouble.
They had to. Like, there was so much asbestos and so many different things. They had to
Oh.
they had to be qualified to remove asbestos
Yeah.
to redo things. And they had to completely redo the roof just to allow people in it. So it's been 4.5 years for some solid reasons, but
Wow.
yeah, it's wild. And like
I saw some shots and it looks great.
oh, did you see, I hear Dusty Tracks did a cool episode on it.
I didn't.
They did. Huh? It's pretty cool.
It's pretty
cool.
Yeah.
Just saying. We started in the basement and then worked our way up through the whole theater. And it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
insane.
Well, it's the same here. Like you can go up the back behind
Yeah,
the
you said
curtains,
the
and you go
tunnel?
up the ladders, and you can walk across the catwalk at the top. And there's also the middle one I built there just for storage and things. Then you go up another set of ladders, and you can walk all the way across the ceiling. And I can, with my hand up, I'm only 5'8", 5'9", whatever. I can't touch the roof.
Oh,
and you can
wow.
walk all over. There's boardwalks and things that connect up here. And there's also a tunnel that goes underneath the theater. That's I ended up running all my cabling through there because it's just way
perfect.
easier.
Yeah.
But every wall in this place is laminated 2x6.
Wow.
Boom, 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 boom. And then the floor, same thing. Inch of concrete on top of that. Then we're going to the walls on top of that. And
It must have been the same contractor that built the Armand. But,
I'd love to go. That's the thing I'd like to go see behind the scenes, right? To see what you're dealing with as far as. But the
There's
beauty,
a whole episode, man.
BC Building Code.
What about the BC Building Code?
If I tell you, then nobody will need me for anything. Now, the BC Building Code, if a business or a building is being operated in the same manner as to what it was intended to be, as this place, 1957, it is 1957. It's owned by the same people doing the same thing.
Yep, you've lost me.
The same people, meaning the Carlsonia Theatre, which is the actual true name of the Lido. It's a DBA. Carlsonia Theatre owns the building. So rather than, I could get myself into real trouble, but rather than buy a building, which then you'd have to bring it all up to BC Building Code, if you buy the shares of the company that owns the building, then what ends up happening is that you're still operating the same company, doing the same business.
Trixie.
Well, it's an extremely expensive thing to not do because you'd all of a sudden you've got a sprinkler system, everything, and it just becomes not affordable. Which is then when you look at these places and go, well, I can't renovate that. It's like trying to remediate some of these old lots we have in town that are old gas stations. It's going to cost you $800,000-900,000 to remediate it.
Yeah.
And the lot's only worth $100,000, so why would you bother?
Yeah.
Are we going to end off on that note?
Well,
kinda
actually,
sour,
do you want to
wasn't
just show us around the catwalk and the tunnel?
Sure. The
we can do that
tunnel,
when you take-
you're going to have, well, I guess I'd have to open that and pull that out. You can't
Okay,
actually
that
get to the
sounds
tunnel.
tempting.
But the back I could certainly show you. You can go up from there.
Yeah, can we bring a camera?
You can do whatever you like, sure.
Okay, because we could do that.
And you probably don't need me to do it. I can turn on all the lights and you can just go anywhere you want.
Well, maybe then we'll end off and then we'll go do that with the camera.
Sure.
You want to say goodbye with me, or you?
Is this it? This is goodbye? Is she
well, okay,
cold
well,
like
what's
this
better?
all the time? Like I'm not feeling a lot of love right now. I don't know what it is. It's not her, it's
What do
me.
you-
I know it.
I've been so excited all day about coming to the Lido. I love theaters. Did you see that the first thing I did was like walk up on that stage?
Yeah.
Because I just love theaters and I love movie theaters.
Yeah.
And I love venues like this. Like it's so much like the Rio in Vancouver.
Yeah.
In
It
so
is.
many good
Theirs
ways.
is
And, like,
a little longer and not quite as steep, but
yeah, and they
it's
still
a cool
have
vibe.
the seats.
Yeah.
Unlike I really actually like the tabling here.
I thought it was so smart when we first did this.
And?
As I start pulling out seats, and I actually put on the marquee, seat sale. You know, because airlines do that all the time, right? So I was trying to sell all these 250 or 270 movie theaters. I thought, oh, that'd be cool. People buy a string of them, and they put them in their basement.
Sick. I'd buy a string of them.
Yeah, well, you'd have been only the second person who did. So I ended up stripping them all off. I sold one to a Hutterite family that has this big white cube van kind of looking thing. And what they did is they bought a string, because of course the seat goes right up whenever you get out of it, right? And they actually bolted it to the inside of the van so that all the people could sit in the van that didn't have any seats now had seats. So they bought, I think they bought 8 of them.
Just as a transport method, basically.
Yeah, they had a van that didn't have any seats in it. Now they
Now it does.
ratcheted into them. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Maybe some rope for seat belts. I don't know how the hell they did it, but yeah,
All right. Well,
fun times.
thank you so much. This has been so cool to hear all about
It's
the Lido. Yeah.
And you know what? There's so much more, but
I know. There's so much more we could talk about art and the Lido and the history of it. I know it goes deep, but we don't want to take up your whole night.
support local, and that's support local is in the theaters and the artists that are doing things. Get out and just get out of your house.
Yeah.
The thing you can't get from any of these other types of things is you can't get human contact.
It's true.
You can't show that on a video. It just isn't there. But getting these people in here and actually hearing the laughter and hearing the clapping and it's just
There's nothing like it.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
my
it's
adrenaline
amazing.
for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it has been a pleasure, and thanks for taking the time to come here and visit. And
Oh.
him too, right, Mike? Thank you.
I had a great time.
Yeah.
Good.
Bob Cajun.
Bob Cajun.
Yeah. Horseshoe Tavern.
What?
Throwback to the checkered floor.
Oh.
There you go.
We listen to it.
Horseshoe.
I forced Emma to listen to it all the time.
Yeah, we listen to a lot of Tragically Hip, a lot of road tripping.
I never liked the hip until I brought I know. I never really listened to it. I'm not.
Neither have I, yeah.
I have no musical talent. I have no. I've never really acted. I never don't do any of that stuff.
You said we were all actors.
Well, we are. We're all playing a
Just
role,
checking. Cool.
right?
As you were. And then you came here and then you liked?
No,
the shift?
I like to build something that wasn't built. So that's my thing. But Ken can sing and Tom can sing and people can do things. I can't do those things.
That's pretty cool. It's nice to surround yourself with people
And
that do
killer
things you know.
popcorn. That's what all the artists say. They like coming here for the popcorn.
That's awesome. So many people get that wrong. There's a theater in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone raves about the popcorn. It's the worst popcorn around, and it makes me so mad.
Because
Movies
it's not
are
the
so
best.
Good. It's
Yeah.
not the best. It's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So far, the best popcorn I've had is the Rio, but
Yeah?
so far,
Do they use real butter?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they're better than us.
Yeah. Well, you don't use real butter?
No.
It's pretty expensive.
Oh, no, it'll kill you. Butter? Oh, terrible stuff. I use Flavicol.
All right. So that's
Flavicol
us
might
for
call.
today.
Yeah, it's the yellow stuff that makes everybody happy, right? Yeah. So when you say
Buttercups?
this is live, you mean like live, like people are actually
Watching
really?
this. Yeah, yeah. So now we wave.
Your mom's probably watching.
100%.
She is
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Hey,
it's
Emma's
Mom.
mom. Hi.
She is actually usually about a third of our audience, not to brag, but
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole family sits around and
Eats popcorn.
yeah,
eats popcorn.
eats popcorn with the real butter.
Yeah.
All right, so that's why we now together we wave and we say goodbye and thank you for everyone for keeping up with us and the unicorns and the platypuses to get today.
That's right. Good memory. Yes.
Yeah, I've been
Thanks
here
for
the whole
dropping
time.
into the Lido.
All right, everybody, this has been us at the Lido. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you again for sitting down with us. We do really appreciate it.
And stay tuned in these two rebels. Now I'm going to go catch your show and find out what it's all about. Thanks. Bye. Some of the classic 80s bands and stuff, so I go right over top of where the drum is, and the glare and stuff that you get off the drum is just so cool.
Oh, yeah. I bet.
Hola! So I've taken these out of the boxes
Yeah.
and hung them up in the bar. So the only thing on here is dust. There's no... So, yeah, these are the ladders that take you to
The mysteries.
yeah. And I think, I got another set of rails there too.
Howdy, folks. Just thought I'd introduce myself as if I were Mike today, because you've been seeing a lot of my face this past week. But thank you for joining us today. We are in Fort St. John, in the middle of downtown, and the two co-owners of Thelma and Marcella's have kindly agreed to join us today. Hello, you two. Will you introduce yourselves?
Hello, I'm Emily Chappell. And I'm Gracie Chappell.
And you two together own and run this clothing shop, right?
Mm-hmm. We do.
How old were you when you started this shop?
I was 16.
And I was 18.
Yeah.
how did you come to run a clothing shop as teenagers?
Well, I came out of high school with my hairdressing trade. So then after that, I was working for a bit, but our parents are always like, freedom, like, if you don't have to work 9 to 5, 7 days a week, and you want to go travel somewhere, like, that's what we want you to do. Like, if you want to go do something, go do it. Don't let work hold you back. So they said, why don't you just open up your own little shop at home or somewhere? And then it grew. We had a little joke that maybe we'd open a store,
And clothing got involved.
Clothing got involved.
I was involved.
And here it is.
How did the clothing get involved?
I don't actually know. I don't know what. I think it was just like another clothing store in town, and I like clothing, so.
I can see that. And are you two currently wearing clothing from your shop? Or?
Yeah, my jeans and my top are from the store.
My shirt is from the store.
And I hear these pants too are...
Pants are from Nashville.
Oh, your sister brought back for you?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Nice, kind of her.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how do you pick the clothes that come in here?
I kind of just
Browse.
I kind of go. It's kind of like shopping online in a way, because a lot of it is online. Because we haven't been to like that many buying shows, and I just like. You just get to like pick everything kind of thing. You just get to fill up your cart full, and then you kind of pick through it after, decide like what's on trend and what's not, and then.
And how do you figure that out? How do you figure out what's on trend and what's not?
I just go with what I see on like social media most of the time and hope that it will work when it comes in.
And how has it been working?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been good.
How would you say is the style of the shop? If you were to kind of summarize it.
It's a hard one.
Boho chic, Western.
Yeah. Just a bit of everything.
Casual. Yeah.
Boho chic, Western, casual.
Yep.
I like that. There is like a very, like sometimes you walk into shops and it just feels like the most eclectic mix, in a good way,
Yeah.
of like different things. But I do feel like yours does feel very well curated. Like it does feel like a clothing shop. You're like, okay, this is all like, you definitely couldn't wear them all in one outfit. But
No.
like there's like a very cohesive style to it.
Yes.
For sure.
Does it reflect your guys' style, or is your style totally different than what you sell?
It reflects.
For sure.
All definitely. Yeah.
That's awesome. And do you find
Definitely
like, sorry?
It definitely does, like, reflect us. She's more the boho chic and brought in the Western, but then you can style them together and make it, I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you kind of do the nice melding of both styles.
Yeah.
Which is neat, because it is a very unique store. Like, I haven't seen this much, like, chic boho with Western clothing before. Like, I was excited to see, like, all the cool T-shirts along with, like, very, very Western flair. That's cool. And so how does it come about that you bring in the Western? Are you involved in rodeos? Are you into Western?
Yeah, so I rodeoed quite a bit. I did high school rodeo. Well, first, actually, I was an Irish dancer, like Emmy. But then I got arthritis in my feet, so I had to stop. So then I just jumped right into rodeo. We've had horses our whole lives, so that wasn't a bad part, the horse aspect. But jumped in, high school rodeo, and then after high school rodeo, I went down and worked for Cameron Posapon, who was a NFR average.
Sorry, for us city slickers, what is NFR?
NFR is National Finals Rodeo, which is like the World Championships of rodeo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you were working on the World Champion Rodeo Tour, sort of?
Not really. This was after she was back home and just like training and stuff. It was during COVID, so not much was happening. So just doing bucking pens, getting experience, getting some lessons, just kind of working for experience. Then I went on the pro rodeo, Canadian pro rodeo circuit for like 3 summers ago, I think.
2 summers.
2 summers ago, I don't even know.
Right when we opened this place.
Yeah, right when we opened, I left that
me
next
stranded.
summer. And yeah, just for experience. Yeah, it was fun.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And how has it been going since that first summer that you opened? Because you opened in 2019. What year did you open?
2021.
2021.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're in your second year, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's tough. Running a clothing business anywhere is hard. I'm impressed you guys started so quick. So
Especially during COVID.
that was bold. That's very, very bold.
Yeah.
What was it like starting it up? Like, how did you decorate this place? How did it all come together?
Well, we weren't here originally. We were in our other store, so it's more when we came to this store like a month or two ago when we moved in here. The other store was definitely more of like a home because it literally was a home. Like it's just this little tiny little house. And it was cool because it was so different. You hadn't, like, nobody had really seen that before, and it was just like a cool little spot to go into. But as soon as we moved in here, it was like, wow, we actually have a store. Like, you're not
The
just...
whole vibe changed.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was, yeah. Brighter, because we have some actual, like, daylight coming in and everything, so...
Yeah, gorgeous, nice. Natural light. It's lighting us right now.
Yes, exactly.
And then when you moved into this new space, how did you decide on the aesthetic for this place?
Pinterest.
Yeah.
Everything was,
Pinterest.
like, with Pinterest, I think.
We kind of, like, tried to stick with the vibe of the old place, but, like,
yeah.
just up it. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
We like the gold accents, I think, really help with everything. We have a lot of gold in
A
here.
lot of gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the gold. I see gold, pinks. It again feels very much a mix of that like boho chic
Yes.
and western.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the pink side of things. This name, Thelma and Marcella's. Where did that come from?
That's our great-grandma's name, so on both sides.
So Thelma is our mom's grandma, who lived until she was 103? 102. Almost 103, so we got to get to know her quite well. We loved her grandma Thelma. And then Marcella was my dad's grandma, who we never got to meet, but we always hear like really great stories about her and how she like really impacted her community with everything. So we thought she'd be a good name to put up here.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And why was it important to you to honor these great grandmas? Like, why not call it Gracie and Emily?
I think them as like people were they did a lot of things. Everyone like that knew them loved them. Like it was just like and I think that's kind of what we wanted with the name, like to be a very, I don't know, like
Known and
loved, which it already is for us, so we wanted to share it.
They're very adventurous people. At least Thelma was. She went skydiving?
Parasailing
at 90.
Wow.
Yes. She was a go-getter.
Exactly. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Man, I hope when I'm not going parasailing.
Yeah, I know.
The chutzpah. Good for her.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then you were telling me, what are these? You have each of their portraits here?
Yeah.
that?
Their pictures, and then underneath them is this is
phone.
Thelma with her phone that she had, and then over there is the moccasins that Marcella had made.
Really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so are these things that have just been like passed down through your family?
Kind of. Our Annie Patsy gave the phone to us. So Annie Patsy is Thelma's daughter. Our pa is what we call him. Our grandpa. He has lots of siblings, so Annie Patsy has a lot of stuff that she has. So she gave that to us. And then those were my dad's moccasins that my grandma had made for him. So he gave them to us. Yeah.
That's really cool. And how's it been? Has your family been involved much in this shop?
Our parents are very involved. Yeah.
Everybody is involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How has that been? Has it been nice to have their support?
Yeah.
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
We definitely could not do it without them.
No,
So.
couldn't.
That's
With
pretty
any
cool.
of them. Yeah. Our brother comes and helps. Our mom and dad are always in here, so
Yeah.
our
And
pa stops in.
That's
Everybody
awesome.
stops in. Yep. Nice.
I'm glad. I love a business that is like family involved.
Yes,
You know? Like,
For sure. Yeah.
And how do they feel about you two running their business? They must be so proud of all of your hard work.
Yeah,
for
they
sure,
definitely
yes.
are.
Uh-huh.
And
Our mom, you'll know if you follow her on Facebook. Our mother posts everything about it. So
we'll make sure to send her this.
for sure, she'll post it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the hard work. Like how much work goes into a shop like this?
A lot.
A lot of time.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
What are the kind of things you have to do to run a shop like this?
It's like a tough one, but like not a tough one. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's like
I don't know how to explain that one.
Well, okay, day to day. You come in, it's a Tuesday,
Yeah.
the shop is open. What do you do?
Come
Yeah,
in,
open
clean
up, clean up everything,
refold everything.
make some content. At least I do. I
makes
make all the content.
Hey, you have a poppin' Instagram. I was watching it. It's well done.
Thank you.
I don't know. Order clothes.
Order clothes.
Figure out what money has to go where and what bills we have to pay.
So you really manage all of the financial side, as well as
Yeah.
the front side of the business, as well as
Yeah.
the clients that come in, as well
Yeah.
as managing your inventory.
Yeah.
Just everything.
It's a lot.
It
Yeah.
seems like a lot, but day to day it doesn't feel like a lot until, I don't know. You don't do everything every day. So it's, I don't know. It's weird.
It's cool. I just I don't know how to that, because I remember the first time, my first full-time job was when I was 16, and it was the change from the summer before. I'd been reading Archie comics and watching TV, and then the next summer I was 9 to 5. My first job was teaching film, but for me it was suddenly just that switch was so big.
Yeah, for sure.
There can be and so just any first job is a lot, and then to run a business is always so many different pieces you don't even realize till you're deep into it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought there might be lots you'd have to tell us about that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a lot. I mean, we neither of us had a job before we opened this. Well, I was 16, so I didn't need to have a job until we opened this. And then since then, I've just been here. So
Yeah, your parents are smart.
Yeah.
Sitting around at 16? Going to work.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's something you guys love about running the shop?
I'd say seeing the people come in and just be happy.
Yeah,
I don't
definitely
know,
that.
coming in oh my god, I love this, I love that. I'm like, thanks. I don't know, it's just nice seeing people. And then it's fun seeing people who's the owner? And you're like, me. They're like, what? Yeah, me. They're like, oh, okay.
Do you ever have people arguing with you? Do they believe you right away, or?
Sometimes they argue. But
Most of the time, they're just like, wow.
oh, good for you.
Yeah.
In shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when anyone walks into a clothing shop, they don't really expect the people in their early 20s, late teens at the front of the shop to be the ones running it.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. Yeah.
It's a surprise.
Crazy.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
That's neat, though. And of all the clothes in the shop right now, do you guys have favorite pieces that are on right now?
I have a few. Most of them are pink because I really like pink, but
Yeah.
yeah, they're these jeans right there.
Ooh, show us.
Yes. Just have flowers on them, little pink flowers.
I think this woman's hoping you're open.
Yeah.
She's trying
Walk
to figure out
in.
what your shop's called.
Yeah.
Um,
We're not BC liquor. Not.
You
what
look
is
like
it?
BC
Quality
liquor.
liquor store.
Quality liquor.
Yeah.
Not you?
It's not us.
Sometimes it feels like it in here though. It gets really cold in here.
Okay, I was like, what
No, it
sense?
feels like you're in a liquor store cooler in here half the time. They
Oh.
finally turned up the heat. We don't have control over that.
Oh, okay. Very cool. I like those pants. I would wear those pants. I don't know if I'd look
Yeah.
good in those pants, but I'd wear those pants.
They're very cute.
Hi.
Hello.
I've never been this place before. I didn't even know there is some place.
Yeah, isn't it cute? They're actually closed
We're
today.
actually, yeah.
Yeah.
we're-
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I can browse. I won't. If
We're
that's
actually
okay,
just doing an interview right now.
Yeah, we're just filming right
Yeah.
Are we doing the inventory?
No, an
just filming right
interview.
now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay.
I just didn't know. I just noticed today.
Yeah, we'll be open tomorrow and
Okay.
all week.
And what are your hours?
10 to 4 tomorrow, and then 10 to 5 the rest of the week.
Okay,
and then
I'll see
Yes.
you then.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing you come back. Should we lock the door?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was like, go lock the door. There we go.
Well, look at that. Live.
There we go.
I like her. She's forward.
Yeah.
I was like,
She's like, I'll browse.
Yeah.
don't even worry. I'm in the shop here. Like, no, they're closed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if there's the answer to how busy and how much people like you.
Exactly.
And it's cool. It's really, you were saying before how much more foot traffic you get
Yes,
at this location.
Definitely. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Half
see
a
it.
block away.
Yes.
And yeah.
I think we'll get a bit more too when we get our storefront done.
Yes, with bright pink.
It'll be bright pink.
I could see that. It took us a couple walking by. Like, we knew
Yes.
where we were heading. I had the Google Maps, and I was like,
But you're not like expecting it to be in a black building that says quality liquor on it. So just a little bit.
have you ever done like a leaned into the quality liquor gag? I don't know, like sold like quality liquor T-shirts or anything?
No, but that'd be kind of cool.
That would be
We should
funny.
do
It would be pretty funny, actually.
Oh, there's so many cool pieces you have here. We've been on the road for so long. I was like so excited to come in and be like, oh my god, pretty close.
Yeah.
I think when we first met, I was like, we were like chatting for a while, and I kept being like, I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna look at these things. They're pretty. Because like my clothes have been living in a suitcase for 3 months, and it's just not as good as a closet.
Yeah.
Not
No.
as good as a closet.
Yep.
Yeah. So you were talking a bit about where the store's been, where it's at now. Where do you hope it to go? What do you want to do with this shop?
I hope we can expand eventually. Like, hopefully we'll get a little bit bigger and maybe expand to, like, Kelowna or Grand Prairie even. Just, like, a little expansion to start off. And then maybe one day it'll get really big and we can be even bigger.
We also had an idea of, since we do have different style, of, like, even, like, doing a Thelma and a Marcella store.
Who would be who?
I'd be Marcella. I've chosen.
Thelma was more of like a chic and like
She was very
more like, I wouldn't say like city, but like that's kind of the more like done up
more
side, and
like
then
fancy,
Marcella
but
would
like
be
probably
more, like,
wouldn't be caught in
Western.
cowboy boots.
Yeah.
So
So you would still be fancy, but you would still have the cowboy boots, or you'd do away with the cowboy boots if you got more fancy?
I'd go more like Western, like I want to say like NFR style. So like all the girls that like go to like the national finals rodeo and like get all like done up, like fancy rodeo. I don't know how to like, explain it, but
I like that. That's cool. And it's interesting you're saying like the more like city style. So like, do you find the style that you have here kind of represents being like a smaller town?
I feel like
For sure.
yes,
Yes.
our style here is more of like our town style.
a bit more casual.
Whereas when you go to like Calgary, it's so much more like they're done
you can
up
dress
and
it up
like
way more. I feel like if you dress up here too much,
You'll
like
get
even these
judged.
pants are a bit much for this town. I feel like they're on the edge of like people are gonna be like, what is she wearing?
Yeah, we went to Ribs Fest yesterday, and I was wearing these really cute, you know, the cute crops that are like the tanks, but they're half.
Yeah.
And then you just wear them braless. Super cute. Not interview cute, but I definitely was like, oh, I might be out of place.
Yeah.
So maybe you should have worn a t-shirt.
For sure.
Well, that's good. You guys have that like awareness of like what styles are going on elsewhere, and then also like keeping a finger on the pulse of the town here.
Yeah. But it's also like sometimes you like try new things. Or like, okay, can we like grow these people's? Can we get them more like in like more pattern
Flowery
clothes,
pants.
flower pants, or like more like city style? And throw a couple pieces in, see if they wear them.
look at the random person,
Get
but
a
not
couple-
everyone.
No.
How do you balance that? Like, how do you have enough inventory that you feel matches Fort St. John, but then introduce pieces that maybe introduce them to something new? How do you
Well,
balance
lots of the time when we do like an order, it comes in as like a pack, so you'll get like 3 smalls, 2 large, or 2 mediums, and 1 large. So it just kind of comes like that. So if it does sell really well, then we'll order another pack. But if it doesn't, then we just
Put her on the sale rack.
yeah.
it? Okay. And is the sale rack mostly how you manage inventory that you have excess of? Like,
Yeah.
that's how you kind of send stuff away again to keep fresh clothing in? Or?
Yes.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I've started a new sale rack because I don't know why it makes me mad when there's like one of something on the rack and like it doesn't sell and there's just like that one piece that there's one shirt and one size of it and people are like, oh, do you have more? I'm like, no, it's the last one and nobody's buying it. Like, so now I have my single sale rack that it's like the last one of everything gets to go on the sale rack because it also makes it like look, I don't know, like it looks cleaner when there's not just like a random color mixed in with everything, so it's like it's grouped nicely and then there's like that one random one, so yeah, take that rando out and put her on the sale rack.
And it's a clever way too. Instead of being like, it's the like left behind one. It's the
Yeah.
like, get it before it's gone.
Yes.
There's only one left.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's clever. how do you like? Has it helped? Has it been moving more things up the summer?
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So then, how do you guys split up the business between the two of you? Like, how are you not butting heads, and how do you work together as sisters?
We're not in here a lot together.
No.
Like,
Take turns?
we take
Yeah.
turns. Like, we both work half a day, which is nice because then you get our freedom. And then if one of us is like, hey, I'm going down south for the weekend, like, okay, I'm going here next weekend. So you just cover shifts and go where you want. Go to Nashville for 2 weeks.
So you've been covering extra shifts with your sisters out of town?
Exactly, yeah. But I also took a summer off.
Yeah.
The very first year, so it's fair.
Balances out.
Balance out. Yeah.
And how do you find the conflict piece? Like, siblings are notorious for fighting. How do you find a way to, like, balance your personal and your working relationship?
Well, I don't know. It's like when you fight with your sibling in general, you just brush it off at the end of the day,
Yep.
usually. So it's not too
Maybe ask
difficult.
Dad. You know, like
Yeah.
Mom and Dad, both of them. But sometimes he gets them both involved. Because our mom is very involved with the store, which we love. But sometimes it's like, dang, I can't get across to her. She's on Emmy's side. So I gotta go bring in Dad. It's funny. Mom and Emmy are very much the same, like high, I don't know how to say it.
More social?
More social.
That's how you
Like more
explained it to me
like,
before.
I'm very like cool, mellow, go with the flow, and they're very like, get it done now, let's do this, boom, boom, boom.
Ah,
Yeah, so I'm like my dad and Emmy's like our mom, so
it's a nice balance.
it is a nice balance, yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Not all the time.
Have you had any moments that you've had to kind of like figure out as you go, like conflict moments between the two of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely
Lots.
moving to this store.
Yeah?
I'd say, yeah.
Do you want to talk about them or no?
I don't know.
I
It
don't
wasn't
know.
that bad. It was more like at the old store, I wasn't giving much input into the like clothing aspect of like what my style was. It was mostly Emmy's style. So I wanted more of that, which was also me not speaking up enough. But then also when I did, there wasn't, I don't know. There just needed to be like more of like an even balance. So I wanted to have like I said, Thelma and Marcella's, but like just kind of like split in the store. Like that wall's mine, that wall's yours. I could put like my kind of style on one wall. They didn't love that idea at the beginning.
Because that's really hard to do that. It is.
It is, but it's kind of working.
How did that
really
come
change.
about? Did you
yeah.
end up doing that like separate wall or like? 'Cause it
I
feels
had
quite-
I had like a rack and a table, but that's all I could really bring in. You also like I don't know.
So was that a solution that was a solution you guys came to after? It sounds like it resolved
Yeah,
itself quite
it
well.
did kind of, but I think it kind of did. Like
I
quietly,
feel
like
like-
more like I just did it. And
Yeah.
she was okay with it once it was done.
Well, because I still wear everything that you wear, so it's not really a style thing.
No, but you wouldn't have brought in all those T-shirts if I didn't find them.
Maybe I would have.
No.
Sounds like it's a nice collaboration. Like, I know one of the nice things about always having my sister on is, like, she thinks of things that sometimes it feels like I haven't yet. I'm just like, calm down, I
Yeah.
was going to get there.
Yeah.
But it's also just, like, so nice to have two brains for any project,
Uh-huh.
right? Like,
Yeah.
you can't possibly want it to be one person that thinks of it all. So it sounds like you guys really did come to a nice resolution, like, figure it out together of, like,
Yeah.
have both styles, have both input.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Sounds impressive. That's
It got there eventually.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yes.
like any business, especially in the first like 5 years, especially a retail business, especially one with family involved, like there's so many growing pains.
Uh-huh.
So like it sounds like you guys are coming out on top of all the growing pains.
Yeah, for
which is
sure.
good to hear.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
How much have you seen? Like, do you ever get to see your pieces out in the wild?
Yeah.
Like in
Mhm.
yeah. What's that like?
It's,
It's
cool.
fun. You're like, hey, nice shirt. They're like, oh, thanks. And it's like, or like sometimes they have no idea who you are.
Oh.
And you're like, oh, I really like your shirt. They're like, oh, thanks. I got it from Thelma and Marcella. So you're like, oh, really? Nice.
It's always
I just don't
neat
tell them.
because we have these hats and they're, we got them made like right when we opened, so we don't really have any more. But
We have those two left.
yeah,
Those two left.
and you'll see like the random like dude with one on, and it's like you actually have no idea who we are, but that's kind of cool.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Uh-huh.
It must be so gratifying to be like, someone agreed with us. Someone sees our
Yeah.
style.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Mhm.
And have you found that like you're getting as much business as you would hope? Like, how is it managing business coming in and people buying?
It's slow some days, but it really depends on the day. Around days you'll get like a Tuesday and it'll be super busy, and then
I feel like it's slow right now, but
sometimes
mostly because school just got out and everybody went on vacation. So it's like starting to pick back up again because like they're coming back, but
And have you been, like, I know you've only had a few seasons, but have you started to get a sense of like what seasons are more or less busy?
yes.
Yeah,
Or
I
kind
feel
of.
like so like Christmas obviously it's busy always.
Yeah.
And then right after Christmas, dead.
Yeah, everyone's trying to save their money in
Yeah.
January.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it starts to pick up again in like spring and stuff because everyone's buying new things. And then right at the end of spring and coming into summer, it's really busy. And then it gets slow again because everyone's gone. And then it picks up going into fall because school started and everyone wants new things then coming into winter. Yeah.
That's cool. And so much of your time is this shop, but from what I understand, you also have a lot of really big hobbies outside of this. Like, how is your Irish dancing makeup?
It's good. I just got back from Nashville. I had the North Americans there, and I got 4th, which was really good. I've never gotten that good before, so it's
That's
nice.
cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And for those of us that don't know much about Irish dance, can you walk me through what the competition was and like kind of what you did within it?
So it's like, I don't know how to explain it. So North Americans is like all of North America basically.
And then
And then
overseas can come over.
random, people from overseas will come, which in my opinion, I don't think that's right. Just because it's North Americans, it's not everything else. But people go to like Great Britain's and stuff like that all the time too, from like Canada and the United States. So there's that. There's North Americans in general. There's age groups. So I'm in U19, and it kind of just
You have 3 rounds.
you have 3 rounds. Everyone has to do the same music, but it's like whatever your choreography is to the music, and you dance all 3 of your or 2 of your rounds, and then you get to go to a recall round. So they call back 50% of your group, and then you do that, and then it's based in like Irish points, which is very confusing, but too hard to explain. And then that leads up to your placement.
Okay, cool. I have to admit, I knew absolutely nothing about Irish dance about a week or 2 ago, and I chatted with Gracie while you were competing, and I was like, okay, starting to wrap my head around a little bit. It's intense. It looks hard.
It's very. I've danced for 13 years. I'm coming into my 14th year. I wasn't going to do
I
it,
wasn't going to do it, so she sold her dress.
but I
With
bought a
that
new one
new one.
already. And yeah, so it's some days you're dancing 5 days a week for 2 hours a day. So it's very intense.
Yeah, wow.
Never broken anything though, which is shocking.
Not good.
Sprained a lot of things.
That's pretty good. And then, how do you balance running a business with like these other things going on? Like, that's obviously a big time commitment. Rodeo is a big time commitment. How do you balance all these different things?
I think a lot of it is like Gracie is like rodeo is mostly in summer. I don't dance in summer, so that helps a lot. And then we have, if we ever do need someone to work for us, we have one employee, and she's really helpful for that. And then
Our mom.
our mom, yeah,
Come in and
she
work.
comes in and works
Her dad
for
will
us.
come work.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so and like we said, like we're not always here together, so it's easy to just say, come work for me, I have to go to dance, or it's really easy, honestly.
That's awesome. So you're able to do it, just that collaboration between you two and like handing off and asking for work when you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sure. Yeah.
And then, how do you manage like you're in downtown Fort St. John, and like it's not a particularly dangerous town, but like you're 2 young women running a shop by yourself. How do you manage the safety element of that? How do you manage how many people that come in?
We can lock our door from our till.
That's good.
Behind
news.
our till, which is nice.
Yeah.
Except for when we we'll open the doors and like put the plant out there to keep it open or something. And then somebody will walk by and you're like, how do I close the door?
I just don't open the door.
Yeah.
I leave it shut. I'm scared of people, so.
Fair enough. And then on that, like, how do you deal with, like, just in retail in general, it's exhausting for everybody. You're dealing with people constantly. People are like, this doesn't fit. I don't like this. How do you deal with that aspect with the people?
Smile and nod.
Yeah, you just
Smile and
you're
nod.
just like, okay. Like, I mean, it's their opinions, so you just kind of gotta go with it, you know.
I think the most one we get is, oh, that's too young for me.
Yes,
It's like,
that one's a hard one too.
It is a
'cause
hard
it's
one,
like, well, it's not too young for you. Anyone can wear anything. But then they're like, no. Okay, I'll stop talking then.
So how do you manage that? Like, how do you make people feel comfortable when they're trying on clothes and, like, convince them to try new things?
I think I just compliment them as much as I can. Just tell them what looks good. If it doesn't look good, I'll say it. I'll say, no, I don't think that's good with your skin tone, or like, whatever.
That's good. People value that honesty. I hate when I'm shopping and someone's just obviously full
Yes.
of it.
Yeah.
And you're like, we're looking at the same thing. Like, I'm smaller and this is not. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I think that's a really good trait.
Yeah.
And is that like the complimenting people and like making it a nice space for people? Is that important to your business? Is that like a factor?
For
or
sure,
would you-
Yeah, that's definitely something that we value, I think.
How so? Tell me more about that.
I don't know, I don't know how to say it. Like, you don't want to have, like, a bad name out there of, like, oh, they're snitty. Like, we definitely both have terrible resting bitch faces.
Crazy.
Sorry, I was
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
But, like,
the resting on happy face. How
the
does
resting
that?
on happy face. You just have to, like, always know that, like, you just always have to be smiling. Or, like, I don't know. It's like, I was thinking that, like, somebody will be like, oh, like, I thought you were really mean. Like, when I was in high school, they're like, I thought you were really mean. I'm like, no. I was probably just, like, didn't even know you were looking at me, and I just didn't smile back at you. Like, if you would have smiled, I would have, like, smiled, and you would have been like, oh, like, she's nice. But, like, they're like, no, I thought you were mean. I was like, no, I promise you I'm not mean. Just forget to smile sometimes.
It's
gotta remember
fair.
to smile.
You're in
Exactly.
your own world. You're like, there's not people. Like,
Oh,
you get
exactly.
distracted.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, like, Mike's the worst for, like, resting on happy face. When we started working together, I was like, this man has no sense of humor. What's going on? He doesn't like me. He doesn't want to be here. He doesn't like anything. And then you, like, he's chuckling right now. and you talk to him, you're like, oh my god, this is the funniest person I've ever met. But, I mean, okay, maybe most people, I'm biased, but it's funny the way you can, like, get this impression of someone and, like,
Yeah.
Mike would be there, like,
Yeah.
this resting face, just like, you're like, he's not having a good day. And you talk to him, you're like, oh, he's having the best day ever.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it's an interesting piece of, like, trying to deal with the public and, like,
Yeah.
make them feel comfortable and talk to them.
Yeah.
We're always trying to juggle that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, honestly, like, that's pretty much all the questions I have for you two. Is there anything else you feel like you want to touch on in terms of your business here?
I don't really
think so.
have anything.
It was good.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Yeah.
thank you two so much for talking with me today.
Yes.
I-
Thank you for having us.
Oh, thank you for having us in the shop.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the chance to, like, well, one, sit around in pretty clothing. It makes me really happy.
Yeah.
We've been sitting in our hotel room. This is nicer. But it's so cool to hear about this business and how you built it and all the work you've put into it. Like, it's a lovely shop, and I'm excited to see where you guys take it next.
Yes.
Like, I hope the business keeps growing, and yeah, and I hope you keep enjoying it.
Yes.
So,
I hope so too.
Thank you.
yeah, thanks.
Yes.
All right, will you say goodbye with me to everyone?
Bye.